Sorry, he's having a chat. Sorry, guys. He's having a chat. Actually, you don't get to hear this music very often, do you, Paul? And this is strong.
Beautiful.
So let's just enjoy this a bit more. Really is. Who wrote that? Brahms?
I think it might have been Brahms.
Brahms or Mendelssohn?
One of those.
Or DJ Tall Paul? One of the three. I just don't know. Just trying to find the menu. I find, Catherine, that it's best to put the menu in the menu slot, not the news slot, my love. Not the news slot, my love.
Let's keep it special, shall we? I'll put it somewhere different every day.
Oh, I've heard that about you. 4 minutes past 6 and already I'm libelling members of the team. I'm sexually harassing Paul Scoins. He hasn't realised it yet, but he soon will do. Look, we should probably start the show. Yes. Coming up today, Barnfield is back in hot water. Recruitment drive for gay mums and dads. And no Peter Burkett. Facebook.com/BBC3CR. Send me a text, 81333. Start your text 3CR, and you can give me a call, whether your name is Peter Burkett or not. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, MPs will today call for a parliamentary debate into the Barnfield Federation after 2 government departments published highly critical reports aimed at the Bedfordshire schools chain. Unless there is a significant improvement at the Federation, the government will not hesitate to take further action. Well, our political reporter Paul Scoins has been looking into this, as always. What might that action look like, Paul?
Well, Iain, the government has said it's going to monitor progress closely, and if there aren't, quote, significant improvements, then it won't hesitate to act further. Now, that action may, in some ways, look at the splitting of the academies Barnfield runs from the college. That's something that they have to consider. That ask was a direct request from the 2 government ministers involved in this, and there are several other schools waiting to join the Federation, which we've covered here before. At least 2 have pulled out, or one was pulled out. One was told Barnfield wouldn't be sponsoring them, and I now understand that those conversions are placed on hold, if not indefinitely.
Now, this is all from these 2 reports we've been talking about. It feels like forever. Probably 3-4 months, something like that. They came out on Friday, I think. So give me the headlines.
OK, well, we knew some of them because we were able to get a copy of one of the reports in advance, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago, exclusively here at BBC Three Counties on this programme. Massive overspends, huge amounts of money wasted on failed projects, over £1 million spent on improvements to college site, which was questionable, and the failed Harpenden Hair Studio as well. Nearly £1 million claimed for students it couldn't prove it had taught either. Now, the money was also claimed in this, according to this report, for staff taking some courses, so effectively bumping up the numbers there. Vast overpayments to senior staff, 2 payoffs, holiday allowances, an expensive car to the former Director General, Sir Pete Burkett, when he resigned and was only owed, I worked out, around 20 days holiday pay. There was also stuff in the report about conflicts of interest of the board, credit limits on cards. So you would normally expect a corporate credit card to have a limit of around £25,000. There was one card which had a limit of £100,000.
Gosh.
Profligate spending as well. £8,000 was spent on plaques bearing Sir Pete Burkett, the former Director General's name. Excessive amounts spent.
So what do you mean plaques? What do you mean plaques bearing his name?
Marble plaques
with just his name on.
Well, I mean, marking the fact that he'd been knighted and that he had founded the organisation.
Okay, thank you.
And these were sent to the academies. Excessive amounts spent on alcohol for end-of-term parties and a, quote, significant amount of chocolate, unquote.
We also now know now what the government want to see done.
Yeah, there's been a letter sent to the Barnfield Federation from the Skills Minister, the Schools Minister, Matthew Hancock and Lord Nash, respectively. This is effectively, Iain, a final warning saying that these immediate actions need to be taken. The whole scale restructuring of what is a ludicrously complicated organisation, new leadership needed, a look at all of the options for the future, as I've said, including the breakup of that federation, and they've got a month to do that, so they've got to put those plans in place in a month's time. Government spokesman has said that they have already put in place an interim chief executive officer. They're working with the government to urgently fix the weaknesses that the government found. They said they're going to, as I say, take further action if nothing's done, and the government says that it has already taken swift action to address these concerns at Barnfield, and they say that it further illustrates the strong accountability systems we've put in place to protect public funds. That is something that the local MPs and indeed the unions dispute.
This is bad, isn't it? It's a damning and disastrous report.
I think it is, and I think it's pretty embarrassing when you consider that back in 2007 this was one of the first organisations of its kind to start sponsoring academies. It was held up as a real sort of example to others on how to do things and how to do this method. I think it would be really interesting to see what happens in the next couple of months, because, ultimately there are lots of people who are taught in Barnfield schools. There are lots of people who attend the college. Educationally, these reports haven't looked at the quality of education. Indeed, the people who work for Barnfield, who run Barnfield, say to us that, that's never been in question. Although we've obviously heard different rumours and allegations made to us about how children are taught there. But whether or not the system, the structure of Barnfield looks the same at the start of the new academic year in September this year is quite unclear at the moment.
MPs are calling for a debate. Why? Will that achieve anything?
Well, if they have a parliamentary debate, they are allowed to say things in Parliament that they couldn't say outside of Parliament. So I think there will be further allegations that have been made to MPs that will be able to come into the public domain. So that's why Gavin Shuker wants to do that.
I remember in the past, we spoke to people from Barnfield on this show, and they said they would be happy to come on when the report had been released. Sir Peter Burkitt was due to come on this morning. We've got neither of those. Why? What's going on?
Well, Barnfield, as you say, back in October, Ian, you asked Stephen Hall this question.
Can we get you on in 6 weeks' time to go through it?
I would be more than happy.
Well, we were told back then that of course they would be more than happy to do so. We've now been told that they won't be making anybody available for interview for the foreseeable future.
So just 1 second.
I would be more than happy.
Okay, that's not happening.
That's not
well,
happening.
He instantly gets dragged to a hotkey to play throughout the show. Okay, that's disappointing. So what happened to Sir Peter Burkitt? Because yesterday you were firing off emails to me saying he's coming in. I turned up this morning, he's not coming in.
Yes.
Disappointing.
It is rather. I mean, I've had a long sort of text conversation with Sir Peter Burkitt over the past month or so at least, and we were getting on all right. I thought it was fairly convivial, and there have been several times where we had booked him to come on, and he'd pulled out. Before the report was published, we could sort of understand that. Now, since the report has been published, he agreed last week to come and talk to us. And at 4:30 this morning, sent a text through saying that he had realised that part of his contract had involved there were sort of legal elements that might mean that he wouldn't be able to converse today, but he said that he would like to try and see if he could do it later in the week.
I hope he can come on, because I do want to ask him about the payoffs, the holiday allowance, the expensive car, and the plaques, and the significant amount of chocolate.
What he does say about... So he has sent some of the comments through for us this morning, and I shall read some statements, but there are pages of statements, so if you'll forgive me if I summarise them. He said about the payoffs, he said that my remuneration and severance package is the business of the board, and therefore I wouldn't be able to comment on this.
Okay.
He talks about the organisational structure, which there is a...
he wouldn't be able to talk about the bigger payoff that he got, that he perhaps... It would appear he wasn't entitled to.
Well, the report did say that he only asked for holiday pay,
right,
and he was then paid a huge amount more than he needed to be.
Okay.
So, he says, that's the board's decision.
You can still talk about it, I would imagine. We'd ask him anyway.
We'd ask him. The organisational structure, which is, as I've alluded to, enormously complicated. People can now go onto the Education Funding Agency and Skills Funding Agency website and read these reports. They are fairly revealing. But at the back of all of them are sort of these diagrams of how the Barnfield Federation is structured. And my goodness me, I think bonkers is really the only word I can use to describe it. It is so complicated. At least 10 limited companies within this organisation. It's very, very confusing. He said that the board is ultimately in control of the federation, not appointed or managed by me. They appointed and managed me. Financial overclaiming of students. He said that's linked to the insufficient recording of student hours, and there are 2 subcontractors that underperformed. He said as well. These errors would have been picked up in colleges' usual audit process.
It's a long statement. It's a complicated story, but it is a very, very important one. This is why we keep going back to this, because the whole thing of federations and things like that, it's a very important...
It's important when you consider that Barnfield, as an organisation, teaches, I think it's 1 in 5 pupils in Luton.
Right.
So 20% of Luton students are at Barnfield schools and academies. And, you know, the academy heads are itchy because they feel that they've kind of, you know, been under investigation when, you know, it's been mainly the college that's been in the firing line for all of this. The actual statement from Barnfield, which I should read, said that we are tackling issues raised by the report with the single aim of ensuring that Barnfield is a strong, fit-for-purpose education provider that puts its students, parents and staff at the forefront of its thinking and actions.
Well, we'll be talking about this more throughout the show. If you're a parent or a grandparent of a pupil that goes to a Barnfield school, place of learning, then give us a call, and fingers crossed we can get Sir Peter Burkitt later in the week.
Yeah.
I would be more than happy.
Now, sing hosannas, guys! Today is the start of our big tour. Yes, it was so successful last time, we brought it back for another whack. It's where we stop off at various locations across the 3 counties and dig a little bit deeper to find those stories that matter to you. This week, we focus on Kempston, where residents have been telling us that new housing is killing off part of the town as well as local wildlife. What's more, UKIP Town Councillor Nicky Attenborough says concerns that the new homes could leave the area vulnerable to flooding have been absolutely dismissed. Well, we can speak to Nicky now. Morning, Nicky.
Good morning.
Which areas of Kempston have been spoilt by new homes being built?
It's at the farthest end of Kempston, Ridge Road, Cemetery Road, building really from the bottom of Kempston's rural area into the so-called bypass.
And what's so bad about these properties, Nicky? Because we're constantly hearing we need new properties, so why are these ones inappropriate?
Yes, we're always hearing that we need more houses. None of us understand why and where, but this time it's hit Kempston very heavily. Now, those were what they are built on used to be called the Water Meadows. It was a beautiful part of rural Kempston, lovely fields full of wildflowers and wildlife, leading up to an exquisite little Norman church, which has been completely and utterly concreted over. And every single objection that has been made by local councillors, and we've been fighting it for a long time, has been totally overlooked. The Environment Agency has been utterly and completely useless. And what they haven't realised is that it always was a land that had water on it. And if you look at the Great Denham construction that's going on, it's waterlogged. Now, the water has to go somewhere. And I think this is outrageous that it's been utterly and completely ignored. And apart from that, our objections on the impact on the infrastructure were totally overlooked as well.
Nicky, was Kempston badly affected by floods in the last few weeks?
It has certainly not been good around the river areas, no. And that, I think, you know, let's face it, they weren't called Water Meadows for nothing.
Yes, that would give you some sort of clue, wouldn't it?
It would. I would have thought so, yep. But as far as I'm concerned, the water has to go somewhere. And, you know, when it actually does become destructive, like it has in Somerset and other areas, they seem surprised. Now, it isn't just that. It's the fact it's destroyed and had no consideration on our infrastructure. There's pressure on schools. The hospital is under immense pressure. And as for the roads, well, Kempston is gridlocked at least twice a day in the impact rush hour, and mostly the traffic now is increasing.
Is there no provision for increasing the infrastructure when new homes are built?
It It's never taken into consideration. This is what makes me exceedingly angry. And remember, I have sat on 2 planning committees, one on Kempston Town Council and one on the borough, and every time I have asked whether a huge development is considered, and when they were considering the so-called bypass, that road is not a bypass, it's an access road into this huge development. That the fact is, can the overriding infrastructure support it? And the answer with Kempston is no. Now, if I sound angry at 6 o'clock in the morning, it's not because it's early, it's because I am damned angry. This should never, ever have just been given carte blanche. But we now have no consideration for the local plan, and let's face it, every single objection that local councillors make is dismissed. It is overruled by the government's planning inspectors.
So there's nothing you can do then, Nikki, is that right? You're powerless?
Yes. Frankly, with this car crash of a government, we are powerless because they want to develop, I understand. The forecast is 1 million more homes. You tell me, Iain, where they're going. Well, I've got a shrewd idea where some of them are, and they're sitting on some of the most beautiful land that made Kempston what it was, and it's now literally an urban sprawl that's moving into Wootton and Great Dunham.
Nikki, I appreciate your time this morning. Go and have a nice cup of chamomile tea. You can't spend the rest of the day this angry. Thank you very much, Nikki. Nice to talk to you. UKIP Town Councillor from Kempston, Nikki Attenborough. This will calm her down a little bit. A little bit of Grover. Why not? Beautiful. Wasn't just the 2 of us a sitcom starring Nicholas Lyndhurst and a woman with, like a boy's haircut? Wasn't it? It was ITV. It was when ITV used to do sitcoms on a Friday night. And it was Nicholas Lyndhurst, and as I've previously said, I'll repeat myself, a lady, a very thin lady, with a boy's haircut. She looked like she smoked. You know, some people have a smoker's face. Yeah. I don't know if she did. She looked like she did, and they got into all kinds of scrapes.
They newlyweds.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Del Boy?
No, I'm not.
You've just described him.
No, I've not described... No, what? How have I described Del Boy?
He's a boy with a smoky face.
No, it was... it was a lady, a very thin lady.
Janet Dibley.
No.
Ashley and Elaine.
Oh! There we go. And she looks like she's got a smoker's face, doesn't she?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's got...
sallow cheeks.
Chiseled cheekbones.
Chiseled cheeks. So definitely not Del Boy.
No. As far as we know.
And
we never see him in the same room.
What was the year?
1981.
What... I can't think of the words I want to say. Was that the theme tune?
Yeah, why not?
Sure, let's have it.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Boom. Boom. Kelly's back. You had a nice holiday, Kelly?
Hello, I did. It was lovely.
Great stuff. Where did she go, do you know?
Venice.
Oh, isn't that nice? What did she see there?
Pigeons.
She's got a dog now.
I know.
What's it called?
Dexter.
She calls it Baxter.
I know.
Because she's
mad.
A bit crazy. We got that right, didn't we, Cuz?
Correct.
Excellent stuff. Catherine
I really missed her. Really missed her.
Come on.
Little friend.
Oh.
She's like my studio pet.
Yeah. I told her to bring the dog in.
Yeah.
I told you to bring the dog in, didn't I?
Did you?
Yeah, well, yeah.
So
I'm hoping she brings the dog in.
She better.
Yeah, it'd be nice if she brought the dog in. We were just saying it'd be nice if you brought the dog in.
Do you want me to bring the dog in?
Would you?
I'd like her to bring the dog in.
I want a little stroke.
I'd like her to bring the dog in, but then for her to go home straight away.
Well, hang on a minute. What if he needs walking or pooper scooping?
Paul Scoins.
Yeah, fair enough.
We're going to be looking at the newspapers. If you'd like to join... By the way, we're in Oscar-free zone this morning. Man, I'm bored of the Oscars. Is it finished yet? 12 Years a Slave, a film I'm never going to see. Gravity, a film I might see if they show it on ITV3 in 15 years' time. But apart from that, I really... Oscars...
Kelly cares.
Does she?
Yeah, look, she's got her hand up.
Let me ask. Kelly, do you care?
Have you seen the selfie from Ellen DeGeneres on Twitter?
So,
It's a good selfie.
apparently it broke... I wonder if Kelly knows that it broke Twitter.
Broke the internet.
Shall I ask her?
Yeah.
Did you know it broke Twitter and the internet?
What did?
08459 455 555 is the phone. I've been listening to a lot of Paul McCartney solo stuff this
for?
weekend. Well, just I'm trying to suss it out. A lot of Paul McCartney solo stuff, Kels.
All right.
Turns out that Flowers in the Dirt, the album that the excellent My Brave Face comes from, the album's rubbish. I mean, rubbish. There's
more dirt than flowers.
Yes, there's what very, very good. You should have been writing for the NME back in 1989. There's
too young. You could have.
I probably could have. One brilliant song, My Brave Face. One half decent song, Put It There. One quarter decent song. I can't remember what it's called. The rest, utter guff. But then I listened this morning to Memory Almost Full, which is from about 5 years ago.
Yeah, was that the one where he was writing about sort of getting over?
Well, I don't know if he's writing about getting
things.
I need to work out if he's still with Heather Mills McCartney at the time, because if he is,
on his way out by then.
He's written a lot of love songs on there, though. And if they're about her, then I would have to change my opinion. Hopefully, they're about Linda. I'm moving about. Anyway, this isn't from that. This is from another record. And I thought I'd play it now.
Oh, good, okay.
This bit's nice. Shut up! Kelly, shush! Frog chorus again, isn't it? He's found the setting on his computer. He's good, Paul McCartney, actually. I've decided he's good. I nearly hit the note. Just looking through the papers.
Yeah, when you said that, I thought we'd have to say something out loud.
No. BBC is to axe a TV channel.
BBC 3.
BBC 3?
No.
Snog, marry, avoid?
BBC 4.
My mum's a fat gay woman.
BBC 3 counties. No.
My dad's a dead dog.
Have you seen that?
That is actually excellent. I shouldn't have. That is an excellent programme.
I haven't seen that one.
It's My Dad's a Dead Dog.
It's
about this fat girl whose dad's a dead dog. That is actually brilliant.
That's not been explored before. I think that's valid.
But you get rid of BBC 4?
Yeah.
You see, look, that's the age gap. That's the postcode lottery we're hearing there.
BBC 4's got quality programming.
Yeah.
Niche. Intellectual
Niche is on there.
Yeah.
The BBC is preparing to axe one of its main TV channels to help it find another £100 million in savings, insiders have said. In a dramatic concession to those who accuse the corporation of being too large, i.e. the Daily Mail, which is where this story comes from, Director General Tony Hall, we salute you, sir, the boss, is expected to jettison BBC 3 or BBC 4 entirely. It's got to be BBC 3, and I tell you why it's got to be BBC 3, because the BBC, what was it?
Inform, educate, entertain.
That was it. Relax, love and touch. Oh, I don't know what it was. Inform, educate and entertain.
Stop, look, listen.
Stop, look, listen. Think before you drink, before you drive, clunk, click, every trip. That was its motto when it started, Kelly. Clunk, click, every trip.
Also, nation shall speak peace unto nation.
Yep. Veni, vidi, vici. So when it first started...
You shall tell girl that she's got too much eye makeup on.
We came, we saw, we conquered. That was the initial motto...
Of the Romans.
Was it the Romans? Mm-hmm. What was the BBC?
What I just said.
Okay, so anyway, their initial motto, Kelly, was one of the things that one of us just said. I can't be bothered to go back in my mind and work out which one it was.
Inform, educate and entertain, and BBC 3 entertain.
No, it doesn't, though. It doesn't.
Does.
Seeing some common woman who can't work out how to open a bottle of Ribena to feed her baby is not... Actually, that is very, very entertaining. It doesn't inform, it doesn't educate, its entertainment value is...
It's
cursory.
Entertaining and it educates you of people like that exist.
I think if you're watching stuff that could be on MTV, on the BBC, you ask yourself some questions.
The BBC, as is proved by having me on this station, should not be chasing ratings. They should be going for artsy-fartsy stuff that no one likes to watch, but we like to... she's got bored, you see. They should be going for artsy-fartsy stuff that not many people watch, but we all pretend we do watch. Mm-hmm. That's what the BBC should be doing.
Definitely, stuff that Stephen Fry approves of.
Seriously, and when are they going to get rid of EastEnders? This is a genuine thing. We shouldn't... Gosh, look at that, I've been indoctrinated. The BBC shouldn't be making guff like EastEnders. Utter tosh.
More Downton-type things, less EastEnders.
Yeah, well, Downton is EastEnders in posh frocks. What have you found?
All manner of things.
As long as it's Oscar-free.
Oh, right, well, it is Oscar-free.
Both Oscars, please. Pistorius and Hollywood.
The Daily Mail's also going on about BBC losing one of our biggest stars, Julia Bradbury.
Who? The girl that did Watchdog 5 years ago?
She does a walking programme that my mum and dad really like, so I'm sure they'll be upset.
Oh, OK.
No, I think she's really good, but let's not over-egg things.
Well, let's not over-egg things. And can I just say, Susanna Reid, a person I've met a couple of times, and she's been absolutely delightful to me. She even messaged me once and said that there might be... put me up for a job, basically.
Oh, that was nice.
Delightful lady. Sorry to about personal life, none of my business, not interested. Don't go to ITV. Have you learnt nothing from Blakely? Have we learnt nothing from Blakely? You get the big fact check. People are waiting for you to fail. 6 months down the line, Susanna who? Susanna who?
But I also understand that for an attractive female presenter...
I hadn't noticed.
The shelf life is still short. So you might as well cut and run.
She could own the BBC. She could be queen of the BBC. Instead, she'll be a pauper knocking at the door of ITV begging for some pennies.
Or the saviour of morning television.
Well...
that programme that we do on a breakfast, I know I'm probably going to get the sack for this. It's boring, isn't it?
Well, this one?
No,
you get sacked for that?
The programme they do on the telly.
Do they do one?
They sit on a sofa. It's kind of... it looks like they're sitting in a very dour receptionist waiting room. And
imagine if they gave us that job for a week.
Oh yeah, we could make it work.
We've got
more cushions. That's what's needed.
You do your next story. I'm going to email Tony Hall.
Yeah, do say I've got some great ideas.
Yeah.
Mostly put us in. Well, I'll take half what they're on.
Dear
Save
Tony
money. Put it money saving tips.
It's Iain and Kath from BBC 3CR. We would be...
Sean Connery's saying that they should
sorry, Kels,
vote for independence, the
Kels,
Scottish...
hang on,
dear.
sorry, Kels.
What about me?
No.
I could do like the weather or something.
No.
I could do be one of those reporters that they have doing stuff.
You've got to think about your dog now, I'm afraid, mate.
Blue Peter had them.
Yeah, I'm going to fade you down because this is really embarrassing.
Oh, mate, but I really felt like...
Right, you know Scottish independence?
I've heard of it, yeah.
David Bowie, who lives in New York, said they should stay.
Yep.
Well, Sean Connery, who lives in the Bahamas, said they should go. So that's that sorted.
And just send that.
What else have we got?
Sent. Okay, we should probably. I'm guessing, guys. Catherine and I won't be here tomorrow.
No,
won't be here tomorrow. Paul Scoynes, political reporter, and also Dull correspondent. And I don't mean he's dull. I mean he's the correspondent on dull things from time to time. I tell you why. No, don't worry. I can get myself out. My foot can be removed.
You're on your own with this one, my friend.
No. He has sent me a message which will explain what I've just said.
Okay.
Paul Scoynes. There is a TV station in Norway which has commissioned and transmitted an 8-hour train journey in real time. It's called Slow TV, and I like the sound of that. You see, he's our dull correspondent. It's, there's an email, Kelly, about a different ISDN number you've got to call. Oh, okay. We may not be able to get weather, so, is anybody free to do the weather? Is anybody free to do the weather?
I could
Catherine, could you... Oh,
I could do it.
Catherine...
It'll probably rain.
Well, not now.
Okay.
Let me do the news.
Actually, it's going to be scattered showers.
Yeah, that's
cold and frosty.
Okay. It's 6:46. It's Monday, the 3rd of March. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Officials in Washington say Russian forces have now taken complete control of the southern Ukrainian region of Crimea. At what point is it appropriate to do my joke, Crimea River?
Not now.
Okay. And 12 Years a Slave has won Best Picture at the Oscars. Let's get the weather.
Beds, hearts and bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Scattered.
Sorry.
Showers.
No, I mean, Kelly, I'm
cold
going to get
frosty
Catherine
tonight.
to do it. Sorry.
Yeah, cold, probably rain.
Although clouds will gradually build and move in from the west, bringing a scattering of...
That was embarrassing, wasn't it? I want to hear a trail for sport, yeah?
Always.
Hang on a minute. That's Donovan, Sunshine Superman. I want to hear that, but I want to hear this first. Get Justin Dealey on the line. I want to speak to him after this. A little bit of the old Donovan. Let's go to Jeffrey in Bracknell. Morning, Jeffrey.
Morning.
Not today, Jeffrey.
No milk.
Let's go to Justin. Justin, where are you?
Good morning, boss. You well?
I'm fine, boss.
Yes.
Just not in the mood for a Jeffrey today.
No, not in the mood.
No. Now, listen, we've got you on because there was a little story what done pop up in the paper earlier this morning.
Yeah.
Shall I read it?
Yeah, we're going to be talking cool or morning. I quite like this, yeah. Good weekends?
Yeah, good weekend.
Good weekend.
Oh, now I'm possibly being a bit racist, so I'll stop. Driving licences. This is an old favourite we've done from time to time, but driving licences should be renewed at 80, not 70. The driving licence renewal age should be increased from 70 to 80, an official report claims. A Department of Transport study reveals the system is struggling to cope with growing numbers of applications due to the ageing population. So, at 70... you have to apply for a new driving licence. I think it's every 3 years, Kath.
I think so, yeah.
And to apply for it, you're not tested. To apply for it, all you have to do is you get a form. Are you a safe driver? Yes. Can you see properly? Yes. Yeah. Have you got anything that means you shouldn't drive? No. You send it off and that's it.
Is it less of a check as to whether you are a safe driver and more as to whether you can tick?
I think that it's a tick cross test. That's it, okay? And they now, because the DVLA is getting far too many letters and they can't cope with it, they now want to push it to 80. No. I would rather have the DVLA flooded with papers than the roads being unsafe by old drivers who are incapable of driving. I've said this before, Justin. I will say it again. At 70, you should have... At 70... you have another driving test.
Well, people are calling it a retest, but this is not a retest at all.
No.
You fill out a piece of paperwork and that's it. This morning, Ian, I've been talking to professional drivers on the A5 in Hertfordshire for their thoughts on older drivers. They back you up. Here's what they had to say.
Over 70, yes. I think they should really give up.
So once you get to 70 years old, that's it, you don't drive anymore?
Yeah, I think that should be it, yeah.
Are older drivers really that bad then, in your experience?
Well, you've got a few, obviously, that aren't, but most of them over the age of 70 coming at 80, I think, give up, really.
Tell us what they're doing then.
The reflexes are a lot slower than that, obviously, and with this day and age, the speed and that on people driving that on the road, they poodle along.
Okay, now, you're 62, so are you going to stick to your word here? When you get to 70, in 8 years' time, will you give up?
Yeah, I shan't be driving.
So you will definitely give up when you're 70?
Oh, yeah.
I'd keep it at 70, quite honest, because a couple of my older uncles, when they were 70, they resat the test, come back on, but the drawback is within a few years, they had serious accidents.
In the 70s?
In the 70s, early 70s.
I've spoken to a man who said 70 should be the cut-off point. Once you get to 70, you shouldn't be allowed on the roads. Would you go along with that?
I'd possibly agree with that the testing age should be actually made so that it's virtually impossible for them to go back on the road.
Well, it was nice of you to grab Jarvis Cocker at the end there, Just.
I know, yeah, this morning in Hertfordshire, there he is. But, in fact, nearly 60% of over 70s now drive. That's up from 15% in 1975. Cars have obviously changed. They're a lot quicker. You've heard the thoughts there. People on older drivers, they do tend to get this stereotype of being very, very slow, and they can cause more problems on the roads.
08459 455 555. Catherine, you wanted to say
I have
something.
a cunning plan.
Yeah.
You know, when they introduced those practical tests for learner drivers, obviously that's going to increase the paperwork. Has it made much of a difference? I haven't noticed a huge difference in the quality of new drivers, have you?
Nope, not at all.
Ditch that, concentrate on the older drivers. Job done.
Here's what we do, okay, this is what we do. Most people in their right thinking mind know that if you're over 70, you're probably not a safe driver.
Whoa. Really? 70's not as old as it used to be.
It's still 70. Bus passes. This is what we do. We changed the bus pass system, okay? So instead of being able to use it just after 9:30 weekdays, you can use it 24/7. You want to get on that night bus, baby? You want to sit behind some kids playing rap music on their telephone while smoking ganja? You can do that. Then you can do that.
The thing is,
but we make the bus pass 24/7. You can go anywhere, anytime you want. You just do not drive.
It is flawed. I'll tell you why. Because people want their independence. Somebody could be, 90 years old and they're a perfectly good driver. You can't say to that person, I'm sorry, even though you're a fantastic driver, you're now going to go on the bus.
Yes, you can, Justin.
Really?
Justin, say that. Jean's in Stevenage. Morning, Jean.
Good morning.
What would you like to say?
Well, I've got a next-door neighbour who is 94 and he's still driving.
Oh, dear. And how...
And he puts the fear of God at me. I've asked advice from different people, and they say, as long as he fills the form in and he says, yes, I can see, yes, I'm okay, they just give him a licence. And I think it's all wrong.
What does he do that's so scary?
Well, he's very, very dodgy, very confused. I've been his neighbour for 52 years. and he's now admitted that he can't see very well, but he won't give his driving licence up.
Jean, why don't you grass him up to the DVLA?
I have thought about it. I really have.
Because you could be saving someone's life
Could
by
save
doing
his
it, in all
life.
seriousness.
Yeah, I know.
Has he got no family that can draw the line for him?
He's got nobody.
Oh, dear.
He's lost his wife, and they didn't have any children. I mean, I go in there a lot to him, and he's so confused that I'm getting really, really worried now. So do you think I ought to?
Can I put it out to the listeners?
Yeah, please.
Because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. Let me see what the listeners think, and maybe we'll speak to you a bit later on, because, our tongues are slightly in our cheeks, but this is actually a very serious situation, could potentially be life-threatening.
Yeah.
Jean,
I mean, I thought of going to his doctors, but then the data protection...
Oh, the doctor won't talk to you.
discuss it with me.
Jean, keep listening. Maybe we'll speak to you a bit later on. Look, you've heard Jean's predicament. 94-year-old fella, lives next door, can't see particularly well, very confused. What should she do? Your suggestion of the DVLA listen, though, Catherine.
I don't know, but it's a matter of public and personal safety, isn't it?
08459 455 555. I know you're busy today, Just. Maybe you could put that little predicament to a few people.
I'll put that out, and also I think this morning, hopefully for after 8 o'clock, I'll try and find some drivers over the age of 70 and put the point to them directly. You know, a lot of people have said to me this morning that once you hit 70, you shouldn't be on the roads. You're above 70. Why should you be on the roads? It should be quite an interesting one.
Justin, thank you very much. And I know we'll be speaking to you later on about something that will get the phones a ring-a-ding-a-ding-donging. 08459 455 555.
That's such a tricky situation that she's in there, Jean. Because what she does could stop him going out.
Yep.
He's got no one else. It's his independence.
But
he could kill himself.
She could save his life. She could save a kiddie's life. What should Jean do? Seriously, 08459 455 555. So I guess that's the question, isn't it? Jean's got a 94-year-old neighbour, lovely old fella. He drives. His eyesight's not great. He gets very confused. She said he puts the fear of God in her. Well, what would you do in that situation? What would you do in that situation? We'll take your calls on this after the news with Lee Agnew.
That's the place where Russia was born.
I will pick up. It turns out we lost Lee Agnew there in the mists of time. Lee, hopefully we'll get back to you later on. He's having a few problems with his computer, so let me just press this button and see what happens. Sorry about that, Lee. Hopefully you can fix things. Turn it off and on again. That seems to work. Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Lots to talk about this morning, including, Barnfield is back in hot water. There's a recruitment drive for gay mums and dads. And no Sir Peter Burkitt. Also took a cracking call from Jean just before the news. There's a story that driving licences should be renewed at 80, not 70. Well, drivers over the age of 70, do we really want them on our roads? Jean called up. Her next-door neighbour is 94 years old. He's a nice fella, but his eyesight's going and he gets confused. She is terrified of him driving, but he won't stop. What should Jean do? What would you do in that situation? We've had a tweet from Scott that says Jean should put a banana in his exhaust pipe. It'll stop the car working. I saw it on Beverly Hills Cop. I don't think that's going to help. Don't think that's actually going to work. Facebook.com/BBC3CR. Send me a text, 81333. Start your text 3CR. Or give me a call, 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
So, driving. We pop back to this story every now and then. It kind of rears its head once in a while. And it gets people very excited. Driving licences should be renewed at 80, not 70. Because the DVLA is a little bit busy. Well, all you have to do to renew your driving licence is you tick some boxes. Are you safe to drive? Yeah. Can you see? Yeah. Do you have lots of crashes because you're old? No. Then you can carry on driving. That's it. Brian's in High Wycombe. It's a crazy system, isn't it, Brian? We should scrap it.
Here we go again. If one takes the insurance company as a guide, I mean, this is you'll hear this again, who do they think are the safer drivers? And who are causing the accidents. It's the very young.
Where are your statistics that it's the very young causing the accidents?
I'm just going...
no facts.
Well,
okay.
I'm just going on insurance. Why are some insurance premiums higher than others? Risk, isn't it?
Because they know that young people will pay it. They'll find the money somehow.
Yeah. But no, I think it's very difficult.
Here we go, Brian. This is what we do, okay? Because I'm guessing from your voice, you're 80?
I'm in my 80th year.
80th year, okay. What we do is we stop old people driving from 70, but we give them free bus and train travel 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
They're going to take those away, aren't they?
Well, no. Under my system, they wouldn't. Under my system, you get 24 hours free train and bus travel. That way, the roads are safer, and you can still go out to the bingo.
I have started using the bus more now because of parking.
Yeah. Is it a bit difficult to park?
Yeah.
Why?
Pardon?
Why is it so difficult getting your car in the space?
Oh no! The actual cost of it.
What do you think Jean should do, Brian? She's worried about her 94-year-old neighbour who's not a particularly safe driver. What should Jean do?
I will know, and it might be next year when I'm too old. I'm driving at the moment with confidence, but I drive less at night when there's bright lights and things because I feel that I shouldn't be on the road.
Hang on a second. You're driving less when there are bright lights?
Well, in the nights because I feel confident enough to do it, but I just feel less comfortable, and I think it's because of all the wet weather, dazzle, and that sort of thing. Yes, in that condition, then I might be a slight risk.
Okay, Brian, thank you very much indeed. We'll end it there with Brian claiming he might be a slight risk when people have got those lights on their cars. Bit of dazzle. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call on that, particularly if you want to suggest what Jean should do, who's concerned about her 94-year-old neighbour who drives. Now, MPs will today call for a parliamentary debate into the Barnfield Federation after two government departments published highly critical reports aimed at the Bedfordshire schools chain. Unless there is significant improvement at the Federation, the government will not hesitate to take further action. Sir Peter Burkitt, the former Director General of the Federation, was due to appear on the programme at 8 o'clock this morning, but he's pulled out of that interview. Paul Scoynes has been following this story. He pulled out rather last minute, didn't he?
Yeah, pulled out this morning. He said that he'd signed, when he left Barnfield last year, he'd signed some paperwork which he was worried might preclude him from discussing some of the points we wanted to raise with him about the reports.
Odd he remembered that at 4:30 this morning.
Well, yeah, a little bit, maybe, especially considering we had set the interview up initially several weeks ago.
But hopefully he's coming on this week if he can clear it with his legal team.
He's going to talk to his legal team and see what he can say. He has sent a very wordy statement which we can pull out at some point.
Just give us a brief I know we're going to speak to a guest in a second. A brief background to this story. What exactly has happened in this report? Both of these reports are quite damning, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, Barnfield, it's a federation. It's a college. It runs. The college sponsored a number of academies, around half a dozen or so in Bedfordshire. It was looking to expand. Whistleblowers led to two government departments instigating some reports. The reports were fairly damning. They were published on Friday. The investigation's been going on since September, so this is something that we've been following for a long time. Main headlines are that there were big overspends in some failed projects, some money, about £1 million claimed for students it couldn't actually prove it had taught, overpayments to senior staff. Some roles were overpaid by as much as £20,000. Payoffs to the former Director General, Sir Peter Burkitt, when he resigned, so he wasn't really actually entitled to those. Lots of conflicts of interest, allegations of profligate spending, for example, £8,000 on plaques bearing Sir Peter Burkitt's name.
Excessive amount spent on chocolate as well.
Yeah, apparently a, quote, significant amount of chocolate. But, this, I suppose, speaks of a organisational structure which is very complicated, wasn't very efficient, and led to public money, being wasted.
We've explained why Sir Peter Burkett isn't here today. Just clarify why we haven't got anyone from Barnfield. When we interviewed someone from Barnfield a couple of months ago, they said they'd be more than happy to come on once these reports were released.
Yes, you interviewed Stephen Hall, who was the joint interim Chief Executive Officer of Barnfield back in October. He has subsequently been moved back to his former role. They said that was always going to happen. It was an interim role, so he was not the person that they were suggesting they were going to put up for interview. There was talk of putting up the acting chair of the governing board. She has decided that she cannot speak because the new broom, if you like, the new another interim chief executive, Dame Jackie Fisher, has come in, and Barnfield have told us that they won't be putting anybody up for interview for the foreseeable future.
I don't understand why. Surely it would make sense to come on and explain and say, yeah, we messed up, this is what we're doing to change it. To put the public's mind at ease, and also the parents as well.
Well, I think Barnfield's view is they've got a month now to rectify some of the problems that were identified in this report. The government has said it needs to, the organisation needs to take significant action, needs to correct these irregularities, and they've given them a month to consider the options. Now, one of those options here must be the splitting, or at least one of the options they must consider must be the splitting of the academies. So presumably taking those academies that are currently Barnfield West, South, all those other ones, and taking them out of Barnfield control. That is something which is going to have to be considered. Whether or not that will be the ultimate outcome, we don't know, because, we can't talk to them. Barnfield are saying that they're tackling the issues raised in the report. They want to ensure that the organisation is fit for purpose going forward. So, that's very limited to what we've been told ultimately.
Paul, thank you very much indeed. I'm joined now by Bodrell Amin, who is from the National Union of Teachers in Luton. Morning, Bodrell.
Good morning, Ian.
These reports, what do you make of them? Are they a surprise to you?
Well, this is a damning indictment, really, into the workings of the Barnfield Federation, and just for the benefit of your listeners, some of the highlights of the report. 1 million wrongly claimed for ghost students, 1.25 million spent on expansion projects which never took place, 3.5 million spent on shared services for things like HR payroll, 16% of the academy's income, significant salary increases to senior members with no oversight, and we can go on and on, really. So this is really a damning indictment into financial mismanagement and extremely poor governance at Barnfield Federation.
What have your members been telling you, Bodrell?
Well, obviously, we can't sort of disclose what sort of members have been saying, but they're extremely sort of surprised and shocked, really, at some of the things that have been going on. Obviously, they're not responsible for these things that have happened at a management and governance level.
How have students been affected by all this, do you think?
Well, I think it affects confidence, really, but the Barnfield Federation is now a tainted brand, and it affects the confidence of the students who are attending the academies and the colleges, and I think several students and parents will consider sending their parents to any of the schools associated with Barnfield now.
And what action, Bodrell, would you like to see the government take?
Well, I think, they have set some targets, but I think ultimately we would like to see the academies, the 4 academies that are linked to the Barnfield Federation, we would like to see them return to local authority control. Because when a local authority school fails an Ofsted inspection, it's forced to become an academy. So in this situation, the academies have failed, so therefore the academy school should return back into local democratic control and not controlled by one person.
Bodrell, do you think that this whole situation with Barnfield shows that the academy system is flawed?
Absolutely. I think what you have is a structure whereby you have the academies themselves and you have nothing in between. So you have the academies and the funding from the government. What we want to see is local democratic control where you have oversight so you can prevent people like Pete Burkitt spending £10,000 on marble plaques and getting a settlement agreement which they were never entitled to, including an Audi Q5. So we want to see something in between, and we believe that the best option is to have local democratic control via the LEA.
Paul, you had something you want to say?
Well, I thought I should probably put the points raised by the Department for Education here at that point, because the Department for Education have told us that they're confident that the oversight of academies is good, and indeed that they say that it was through the sort of government's action to address concerns at Barnfield. It illustrates, they say, the strong accountability systems that are in place to protect public funds. In terms of Pete Burkitt, I mean, he said that he's pleased that the investigation has come to an end, allows Barnfield to go on providing good opportunities, great opportunities even, for students in the community of Luton. And he goes on and also talks about how, in the early days, Barnfield wasn't a very successful school and college, and indeed they went from being, some of the academies went from being at the bottom of the league table to the top. So, there were improvements made under that federation, and indeed, they would say as well that the academies, in terms of their educational ratings, have not been questioned in this report.
Gentlemen, we have to end it there. Paul Scoins, thank you very much. Bodril Amin, National Union of Teachers in Luton, thank you. Buckinghamshire filmed movie Gravity has won 7 awards at the Oscars. Yip-de-doo. Well done, those guys. They must be, there's a joke here. They must be on the moon. What's the phrase when you're really excited?
Up there with the... Over the moon. Oh,
yeah!
Yes.
Okay, we'll do it. And Buckinghamshire filmed movie Gravity has won 7 awards at the Oscars. They must be over the moon. We're the Breakfast Crew and we love having a laugh. Got lots of your texts. Let's have a quick look at the this one. Alan in Luton says, morning Ian, in my view everyone should be retested every 5 years. Story that driving licence should be renewed at 80, not 70. You don't get tested at 70, you just have to fill in a form saying, yeah, I'm alright. We also spoke to Jean, who's in a sticky situation. A 94-year-old neighbour. He's not a very good driver. His eyesight isn't great, and he gets very confused, and she's worried. What should she do? KM Milton Keynes says it may be worth Jean contacting the local adult social care team. Also help him discover the local public transport option. It's a tough one, isn't it? Because you don't want to deny an old gentleman his freedom. But you don't want someone to get knocked over by an old bloke who can't see and gets confused. 08459 455 555. David, who is 66, says, lay off the old drivers. I'm resuming my interim career after 3 years of illness and will be driving to Birmingham early AM Monday, returning PM Friday. It's not about age, rather what's between your ears. Well, David, I would suggest it's also about your age. David in Marsh Farm says, my father is coming up to 94. He is a great driver. The worst drivers on the roads are drivers of BMW and Audi cars. They are aggressive drivers, always want to be in front of you and don't keep to the speed limit. Dennis!
Good morning.
I don't think we spoke to you last week, did we?
Well, I kept out of you.
It was a wonderful, wonderful week.
I know, you were talking light rotten rubbish, so I didn't bother.
Did you not call in simply because Kelly Betts wasn't in last week?
Yes, I did.
No.
Yes, I've got a picture of her over the internet, and she's a gorgeous-looking girl. You leave it alone.
Kelly, can you take more time off? Because it turns out when you're not in, Dennis doesn't call in.
Dennis, didn't you ring in?
No, only to find out where you were and tell them how beautiful you were, and I told them to leave you alone.
Oh, thanks, Dennis.
I don't mean leave you alone on your own, but just stop getting at you.
OK.
She's got a dog now, Dennis. Imagine that, she's entrusted with a live, living creature.
Kelly, teach it to bite him.
I'm going to teach it to meow.
Oh, teach it to
for
bite.
lols.
OK, I'm going to get rid of Kelly now. Not like that, I'm just going to fade her down. It's not a permanent thing. Although, what do you want, Dennis?
You were talking about aged drivers. I was driving till I was 85. I only gave it up because the damn car wasn't fast enough.
Oh, dear. That is disgusting, isn't it?
I know, yes. My granddaughter's got it now, so she's thrashing it to death.
So, did you not miss driving at all?
No, not really. I wound up in parts of London through using the sports button on the top of the stick in a quarter old people's car. I was doing 80 up the N3, and I wound up in parts of London I was so excited, overshot the 25, and I wound up in parts of London I didn't know where the hell I was.
Yeah. Oh, is that how you explained ending up on Brewer Street and in Soho to the missus? Oh, I didn't know how to get there.
No, I know, honestly, I stopped and asked people. Half the people I asked didn't know where they were, and the other half didn't even know they were in Britain.
There we go, you see, Dennis. Thank you very much indeed. 0844... Oh, Dennis, what do you think Jean should do with her 94-year-old neighbour?
Oh, go and make him a cup of tea.
Well, there you go. That's a useful contribution. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. What should Jean do with her next-door neighbour? Now... where are we? I'm all over the shop here. Oh, yeah, here we go. A national drive to encourage more of us to consider fostering or adopting launches today. More specifically, those of us who are gay, lesbian, bisexual or transgender. It seems that even now, in 2014, we still need to spell it out that who you choose to sleep with has no impact on your ability to raise children. Well, in the next half an hour, we'll be talking to an adoptive father who happens to be a gay. Well, Justin's been finding out what kind of attitudes dads like him can expect on the street. Justin, you've been talking to people about this.
I have, yeah.
I'm guessing you've got maybe a slightly mixed reaction.
Absolutely. I've been asking people whether they believe this week should be celebrated. Some very strong views coming up here, Iain. Here's what people had to say.
I think there's no difference. A human being is a human being, gay or not gay. So it doesn't make a difference to me. It's just the person's heart and how they see things. That's all.
I think it's just the same as male and female. There's no difference of it. Still get brought up the same, still get the same love.
You say you're not happy?
I'm not really happy about it because even the homosexual, I don't like it. I don't like lesbian. I don't like it. To me, it's like introducing something. Whatever the way the mother, the behavior of the mother, the child will be the same. So that means they are helping them to be increased, to be like a homosexual, and then it will bring so many diseases as well, as the AIDS and everything. And then they just spread it to the neutral people as well.
If the parents are both gay and the child's not, what way is the child going to grow up itself? You know, that's the way you have to think as well.
Do you think that child could grow up and look up to their parents and become gay themselves?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Your general thoughts are it's very confusing for a child.
I think it is confusing. Gay men are adopting children and thinking, what way is that child going to grow up the same way thinking? It's just going to populate the world even more.
No, it's a good idea. I'm not against it. I've got cousins and relatives that are gay, and she's got a child of her own.
I've spoken to a few people who say it's just wrong, and that child growing up will be influenced by their parents and they could become gay themselves. What's your thoughts on that?
No, that's bull. I'm sorry, but it just is. But my cousin, I say she's got a little boy of her own, and she's gay. But she was married and she went to gay. But her son's fine. So it's not. That's just a load of bull. They're way back in the 1960s, I think, quite honestly. I'm all for it. I've got nothing against the gays or lesbians. So they've done no harm to me. So...
Because if a child's looking for a home and has got two loving parents, what is the difference?
There's no difference.
I'm sorry, I can't really answer the question.
Can I ask why?
Well, I don't like the whole thing about gay and lesbians bringing up children.
So why are you so against it?
I'm sorry, I don't really want to answer any more questions. I've got to go. Sorry.
Thank you.
Wow. I'm shocked by some of those things.
Absolutely. I mean, to be fair, Iain, normally when we go and ask people about this sort of thing, people tend to give an answer which is, let's say, radio-friendly. But on this particular occasion, people certainly weren't holding back. I mean, that lady there in the middle saying you'll be introducing the children to something and they will grow up to be gay, which will then spread AIDS to the world. I mean, I find those views absolutely incredible. Certainly not views for the year 2014, put it that way.
The thing is, I know if I were to ask my mum about this, she would probably be against it.
Yeah.
Because she is of that generation. If I said, Mum, what do you reckon about a couple of gay men, a couple of lesbians adopting some children? I think, and I hope I'm not doing her a disservice, I think she would frown on it because she is of that generation. She wouldn't go as far as to say it's going to make people gay and it's going to spread the AIDS, but she would be slightly against it. So... I'm trying to phrase this. I was going to say I can understand their attitude. I understand it's like the wrong word, but I can. But it's going to spread. I mean, it is laughable. It's going to spread AIDS, and it's going to make people gay. You can't catch. I don't think you can catch gay, can you?
I mean, straight away, her face completely changed, and she said, "I'm not happy about this. I am not happy about this at all." I was surprised by the views that I got. Our radio station, all about people and their opinions. Maybe, and let me just put this out there. Maybe those people would just saying what most people think. I don't know.
Well, Justin, listen, excellent work. We'll speak to you a bit later on. Thank you for that. Let's put it out there. What do you think? This wasn't going to be the kind of the question, but I suppose on the back of what we've just heard there, this has to be one of the questions. And I feel odd saying it, but I'm going to say it. Is it acceptable for gay men and lesbian women to adopt children? That wasn't going to be the phone-in, but hearing the couple of voices in there that were so anti, I guess we have to start with that basic premise. We have to kind of take a step back. So, is it okay for gay men and lesbian women to adopt children? 08459 455 555. I think we can all agree to ignore the nonsense about that's going to spread AIDS. I think we can ignore that, and I'd like to think that we can all ignore it's going to make the children gay. But maybe that is a concern of yours. Surely, if there are kids that need fostering and there are kids that need adopting, doesn't matter where they go, does it? As long as they're being loved, as long as it's nice people that are adopting them, and it's not people that are going to beat them up or bully them, or that's the only prerequisite, isn't it, Catherine? I would have thought.
I think it should be.
If there are kids, and we know we often, every few months, we do a story about how there are so many kids needing fostering, so many kids that need adoption, and there aren't enough people to do it. So if it's two gay men, it doesn't matter if they're gay, as long as they're going to love the child. Surely that's the only.
Stable, loving household. Surely that's the prerequisite.
Let's put it out there, dear listeners, and it wasn't the question I was going to ask. We may move to that later. Is it okay for gay men, lesbian women, to adopt children? Yes or no? 08459 455 555.
Yes.
Sorry?
Oh, I thought you were asking me.
Oh, no, I was asking the listener. I'm asking them to call in on it. And don't be shy. It's one of those things that I know sometimes people can be a bit reticent to call in about because they don't want to say the wrong thing or upset the PC brigade. I've never met this PC brigade. I'd love to go and have a coffee with them. They sound delightful. But there is no right or wrong answer on this. It's your answer. It's your opinion. It's your truth. That's what we want to hear this morning, really. And if you do think it's wrong for gays to adopt kids, why? Why? Is it based on I mean, there are still people who think that they link homosexuality with paedophilia. There are still people that make that connection. And I feel silly even saying it. But there will be someone thinking, oh, children with gays, you don't know what's going to happen there. Or you do. You do know what's going to happen there. They're going to be loved and looked after, probably. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. Give me your calls on this, please.
BBC Three Counties News and Sport, more at 8 o'clock.
What happened earlier, Lee? You disappeared.
I was reading the news and it just vanished in front of me. Wow. It was like there was no news going on in the world. I got a panic message on this tiny little speaker going, help! And then you disappeared. I know. And I was going to play the clip from Gravity. Oh, man. Which I know you were looking forward to. I was really... have you seen Gravity? I haven't seen Gravity yet. I rarely go to the cinema these days because it's so cheap to buy them on DVDs. Yep. That, you get it for £3 up Tesco's in a few weeks' time, won't you? Lee, you're killing the cinema industry.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
He's right,
BBC Three Counties Radio.
If you go to the pictures, it can cost you, once you get your suites, you're looking at 10-15 quid per person. And you can get it on DVD for a few quid a little bit later on. I'm looking forward to films I'm looking forward to going to see. Strangely, the one with Liam Neeson on an aeroplane. I'm looking forward to that.
I like films with him being vengeful in.
I like him when he talks like that. I'm going to shoot you on an aeroplane. I've got no gun. I will find you. I will find you. I've got a bit of an Irish accent in there as well, because I'm Irish, but I'm still I like to pretend I'm American, but they like the Irish accent, so I drop it in every now and then. You know what I'm saying? Oh. Boy.
I'm also looking forward to the new Wes Anderson film. Guys?
Looking forward to what?
The new Wes Anderson film.
What's that then?
Wes Anderson made The Royal Tenenbaums, which is one of my favourite films in the world. It makes me...
I didn't get that.
You didn't get it?
I tried to watch it and I didn't get it.
The reason you didn't get it is because you've got no heart and soul.
I think I was too young. Maybe if I watch it now.
Made me cry. Maybe only men get it. Maybe only men get it. Because there's a couple of bits in there that really make me cry. Really make me cry.
Like what?
There's the bit when Ben Stiller, who is struggling because his wife died, and he doesn't get on with his dad. There's a lot of dysfunctional relationships with fathers in there. That's kind of a key thing.
Right.
And he doesn't want to talk to his dad throughout the whole film. Then right at the end of the film, he says to his dad, I'm having a really tough time, Dad. And his dad puts his arm on his shoulder and goes, I know you are, son. Oh.
Isn't Tannenbaum Christmas tree?
Yes.
In German.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Der Liebling Tannenbaum. I didn't know that.
Wie grüße deine Blätter.
Ja, wo ist der neue Rathaus?
See.
Ja. Der neue Rathaus ist über die Kreuzung auf der linken Seite.
Joyce ist am Telefon.
Oh, guten Morgen, Joyce, guten Morgen. What? What on earth is that?
Good morning to you in Welsh.
Well, listen, we're lucky that we're able to speak English and Welsh. And
Well,
thank you to everybody who made that possible for us all those years ago.
Right, good.
Yes.
Ian.
Yes.
You said it doesn't matter where little children go as long as they're loved. I think you should rephrase that.
Go on.
Yes, and I don't agree with people.
Why should I rephrase that?
You said it doesn't matter where they go as long as they're loved. It does matter where they go because they got their lives as well as being loved.
Yeah, but if they're being adopted or fostered, then as long as the people that take them love them and care for them, that's all that matters, isn't it?
Not really, because they've got their lives to think of and plan for them as well as love.
Tell me more.
Well, I don't believe in gays having children. You said about adopting males having children.
Yeah.
And, I don't agree with that because you've got a little life in front of them.
Yeah.
And they're going to go through, the two of them, the male and female, will have lots of love and all the rest of it. Yeah, okay. But that little child, when it goes to school and as it grows up and everything, just think about it, Ian. You are planning their little lives, and is it fair?
Why is it unfair, Joyce? Tell me that.
I don't think it's fair because
well, tell me why.
They have got to carry it on their shoulders. They will get ridiculed maybe by some children, as you do, but get bullied at school for any old thing you get.
Yeah.
And it's very hard for a little child to explain. Bullying you can explain and fighting and kicking.
But if kids want to bully...
Yeah, but
they'll always bully. Doesn't matter if you got.
But they've got a choice. The two males or females are putting that on their shoulders.
But the kids might get bullied for being, in a care home.
Yeah, well, that's okay because.
But at least if they're in a care home, they go home and they cry. They probably wouldn't get that much attention. Why are you crying? Get on with it. If they go home to their gay dads, their dads can help console them and comfort them.
No, there's not many parents that let children get bullied nowadays.
Well, then the gay dads wouldn't let them get bullied, or the lesbian mums.
No, it's a growing up with two males, two females. It's a lot to put on that little child's shoulders when they grow up.
So you'd rather they stayed in a care home?
No, I think they could get foster love and everything, and they could go out into the community, into clubs.
From where? There aren't enough people fostering and adopt. There aren't enough people of any sexual orientation fostering or adopting.
That's my idea of. So
is the only concern, Joyce, that they might get bullied at school?
No.
What are the other concerns?
I think as they grow up, they've got that on their shoulders and they can't talk about it to people.
Why not? Surely
Why haven't I got a mummy? Why haven't I got a daddy?
Well, I would have thought that the two
lots of questions.
Yeah.
You are putting on little children's lives which are just starting out.
But surely the two gay dads or the two lesbian mums would sit down at an appropriate age and say, right, listen, Steve, the reason there are two dads is because sometimes men and men love each other.
No, I think it's changing the whole world. I'm sorry. I disagree.
Are you concerned, Joyce? Because there are lots of kids, of course, that grow up with one parent.
Yeah.
Where's my daddy?
Yeah.
Where's my mummy?
Yeah.
Are you concerned, Joyce, that little Stevie may grow up to be a homosexual?
Of course, because they can see the mum and dad doing it. Your little children do what you do. If you swear, you zip your mouth up because that child is going to say it, isn't he?
They won't see them doing it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, but they won't.
Let's be practical and logical here.
Okay.
When a child sees something doing, they will copy. You
are right. Let's be practical and logical. Let's go down the logical route.
No, I've got to go. I'm sorry. I'm going to get picked up.
One question. Who are the parents of gay children?
Sorry?
Who are the parents of gay children?
I don't understand the question. Who are the parents of gay children?
Generally, what is the sexual orientation of people that become gay? It's straight, isn't it? It has to be for them to be born. So they've seen their parents enjoying a heterosexual relationship, and yet they've become gay.
And the children have lost that.
Huh?
The children have lost it, haven't they, then? Because they're growing up loving a male and a female loving a female. So they've lost being able to perhaps have children of their own. Sorry. Bye.
There we go. That's what I like, is a weak argument ended by someone putting the phone down. But you can't believe that the children see what their parents do. Well, if your children see you, excuse my language, having sex, you're doing something wrong as a parent, whatever your orientation, okay? That should never happen. We all know that sometimes it does, and boy, aren't those awkward moments. But shouldn't happen. But also, gay children, I would imagine, come quite often from heterosexual parents, so they've not copied and learnt the behaviour. 08459 455 555. Steve's in Luton. Morning, Steve.
Morning, Ian.
Steve, now, what's your view on this?
Well, it's a ridiculous question. Of course, it's not right for gay and lesbian people to have children, especially not adopting children. It's not normal and it's not right, and the last lady was spot on.
Tell me why.
Well, what more reason do you need than the word normal? It's not normal. It's not right. The world is getting corrupt, and kids do learn, as the lady said, they do learn from their parents, they do learn from the media, and the gay and lesbian thing is just getting rife throughout the world. It's corrupting the world. It's disgusting, and they should not be allowed to have children. It's not normal, is it, Ian? It's quite simple, isn't it?
Statistically,
it's not normal.
Statistically, no, it's not normal in statistic terms, but in biological terms, it is normal. It is normal.
No, you're wrong, aren't you? You're wrong. It's not normal.
Steve, you let me finish the sentence.
And gays can't have children naturally.
If you let me finish the sentence.
Go on.
It is normal within society for a certain percentage to be homosexual. It happens in the human world. It happens in the animal world.
Yes, but it's not normal for them to have children. That's the reason, because gay and lesbian people can't naturally have children because they're not normal.
Okay,
abnormal.
So gay people are abnormal?
100%. This is very easy, and you'll have no argument against it for once, Ian. It's very, very, very simple. The word is normal.
You keep saying the word normal. You keep saying, Steve.
Can I finish my sentence?
No, you can't, Steve, because you're talking complete and utter balls. The thing is, Steve, we're not saying about everyone being gay or lesbian. We are talking about a percentage of the population being homosexual. We're not talking about everyone becoming a gay and everyone becoming a lesbian so that the population dies out. There is a shortage of people to foster and adopt children who need to be loved and looked after and educated and nurtured. So why should those children have to suffer? Why shouldn't they go to gay couples, lesbian couples, who will look after them, who will protect them, who will love them? Why would you deny a child that, Steve?
Because it's going to bring them up in the wrong household. They should not be subjected to it. The child would think it was normal when it's abnormal.
Steve, now I've got to
should not be subjected to it.
They won't be subjected to gay sex, will they? They won't be subjected to it.
They would. They would see a man or a woman and a woman being loving to each other, which is abnormal.
So here we go. So you're not talking about the statistical abnormality of homosexuality. You're talking about the fact that it's wrong. It's wrong to be gay.
That is correct. Yes.
Okay, so at last we're finally getting to the truth.
Fact, isn't it? It's an undeniable fact.
No, it's not. It's an opinion. It's an opinion. It's a bigoted, old-fashioned opinion as well. I'll grant you that.
It's a fact, isn't it?
No, it's saying
simple.
Saying it's wrong to be gay is not a fact, Steve. That's an opinion based on misinformation and bigotry. It's not wrong. It's not wrong for someone to love someone else. Doesn't matter what they get up into in the bedroom. If someone loves someone, if two men love each other, right? Why is that so bad? Why is that wrong?
I've just told you it's not normal.
No. We've got past Steve. We've got past the word normal. We've now focused on the word wrong, which is I think is a stronger word and is a better word.
Let's try moving on without you interrupting me. I'll let you speak, and I'll tell you why. It's very straightforward.
If you're just going to repeat the same, Steve, if you're just going to repeat, no, because I want to lay down the ground rules. I'm going to lay down the ground rules, and then you can speak, and I'll even miss travel if you're making a good point. If you repeat the same argument again, we'll end the conversation. So I'm really hoping you can take this argument forward, Steve. Away you go.
No, you're hoping you can cut me off because you know if I finish my sentence, you'll be wrong and you'll be proved wrong.
Listen, tell Alice we may not get to her. Steve's going to take the argument forward. Steve, away you go.
You'll cut me off.
Steve, away you go.
You haven't let me finish my sentence, which I will try and start now, but I'll say goodbye because you will cut me off before I finish
If you repeat the same argument, I will let you go. But if you can take the argument forward, then we can talk until 8 o'clock if you want.
I have to start with the same premise, but you.
Okay, well, lay down that premise again, although we've got it, and then take the argument forward, if you can, Steve, beyond it's wrong to be gay.
But I'm going to try and explain that because you said I am wrong, and I'm not wrong. It is abnormal, and the world would die out. There's a starter. The world would die out.
We've done that one. Next.
Yeah.
Take the argument forward, Steve.
That is my total proof. That is the end of the conversation. That proves it's not normal.
Steve,
why would normal end the world?
Steve, you're right. That's the end of the conversation. Tell Alice we will get to her. Couldn't take the argument forward. Went back on a point that we'd already addressed, that we're not talking about everyone becoming gay. We're not talking about everyone becoming lesbian. That wasn't the point, Steve. I thought we'd ascertained that and got beyond that. Nice try. Not as good as your try last week. Last week I gave you a 6 out of 10. This week I'm afraid it's only a 4 out of 10. Very disappointing. Must try harder. Buckinghamshire filmed movie Gravity has won 7 awards at the Oscars. Those guys must be over the moon. OK, let's get the weather with Elizabeth.
Hi, very good morning.
Those guys, Elizabeth, from the movie Gravity, they must be over the moon.
Yeah, it's wild to think.
Space-based adventure.
It's the only film I've actually seen as well.
Whatever?
No.
Oh.
Like the Oscars.
All right, have you got a cold? You sound a bit bunged up.
No, I'm all right, thanks.
All right. Let's have the weather, please, my dear.
This microphone. I am in a different studio to normal, so it's a bit weird in here. In fact, I feel like I'm in Gravity at the moment.
You must be over the moon.
Station, I am.
Yeah. Do you fancy doing the weather, or?
Yeah, here we go. It's a chilly start. That's the forecast.
You jump?
I am.
Nope. Looks good. I enjoyed it. It's just brief. Hey, we had... who's that girl?
I can go on and on.
No, we had... was it Thornton? Sarah Thornton? Can we not get her again? I tell you why. No, I tell you why. She promised us snow. She kept talking about slushy deposits and snow.
Yeah.
I didn't see none of that.
Well, we... did you read the Daily Express? They were going for, Snowmageddon.
Oh, yeah.
We did actually get a little bit of snow right on the top of the Welsh Hills.
No, Thornton promised us some in Buckinghamshire, right? We didn't get it. I want to look
maybe there might be a little bit on the top of the Chilterns, but it turned out to not be the case.
I'm going to log an official complaint against her, and if she ever comes on this show again, I'm walking. Thank you, Elizabeth. Talking about gays, lesbians, adopting and fostering children, and it's kind of being encouraged this week. And, the argument has started a level lower than I was expecting to, after hearing an incredible vox from Justin Dealey earlier on. I'll play a bit of that later. The question has kind of gone one level lower than I expected to. So we're starting off with a very basic premise. Is it okay for gays and lesbians to adopt children? I kind of assumed the answer to that would be yes, and the conversation would start elsewhere. But it turns out lots of you think that's not okay. Just spoke to Steve in Luton, who's becoming a regular caller. Always nice to spar with him. He just needs to up his game a bit. Priscilla's in Luton. Morning, Priscilla.
Morning.
What would you like to say, Priscilla?
Well, I overheard you just talking to Stephen.
Yes.
And I think it's wrong to have called him bigotry because he was talking facts.
What facts was he talking, Priscilla?
Well, I tell you what, I teach in schools and I deal with these children, okay?
You deal with what children?
I teach children, so children from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
Okay, so the problem is not that the children are not loved or because they are being looked after by gay or lesbian. The fact is this: the children do not know the difference. They are, for example, you give a child letter to take home. You write the other children, Mr. and Mrs.
Yeah.
And you write to this child,
well, that's
that number one, that number two.
Fantastic.
Or mom number one, mom number two.
It's a wonderful way around it.
Well, tell me, you tell me how you're going to go around that.
So is it wrong, Priscilla, is it wrong to be gay?
No.
Because that's what Steve was saying. Is it? Do you agree with him it's wrong to be gay?
It is wrong, yes.
To be gay?
It is.
And you're teaching children?
Well,
God help us. Seriously, Priscilla, God help us. If you're teaching children, how old are the kids you're teaching?
Well, I teach all ages. To be honest with you, I teach up to 18 years.
Permission to speak freely, Priscilla.
The important thing, let me tell you, Ian, the important thing is to tell the children what is normal. Then the child has a child.
No, Priscilla, you're a teacher. Oh, jeez.
I tell you what, it is not normal. It is not, you know it, that's why you have children. You know it, Ian. That's why you have children.
I know statistically.
But it doesn't mean that people haven't got a right to their lifestyle. You can live any lifestyle, it's entirely up to you. You see, and if anybody chooses to live the way they like, I have no right to say why. Nobody. But it isn't normal from the fact. You said something about biological. You said, biologically, you know it's not more normal because no lesbian will ever have a child.
Priscilla, I know statistically it's not normal in as much as there is a significant number, higher percentage of people that are heterosexual than are homosexual. So you could argue statistically it's not normal. But being gay as a thing, of course it's normal. Of course it's normal and it's right and it's not wrong.
Right. You tell me what is right with it.
It's two people loving each other. That's it. It's two people not hating each other. It's two people not fighting. It's two people not killing each other. It's two people in love with each other. That's what's right with it.
Well, don't heterosexuals love each other? Do they have to kill each other? I don't think anybody should kill each other.
So do you agree that gay people
Nobody has the right to kill
Priscilla, do you believe that gay people can love each other or not?
Well, why not?
What's wrong with that, baby? Let's all love each other.
That's what it is. But I'm saying the lifestyle is not normal.
Priscilla, Priscilla,
but they can love each other.
Do you teach in a school?
Of course I do, yes.
May God help us. If there are teachers, and I say that with the greatest of respect, but if there are teachers like you, then I'm actually really concerned.
Well, okay, in that case, Ian, then you tell your child, that it's wrong for you and his mother.
No, I won't tell my child that because it's not wrong. I will tell my child when he's old enough that if he chooses to fall in love with another man, good for him. I'm going to bring my child up in such a wonderful, loving environment that if he comes to me one day, all anxious, and in fact, I hope I bring him up in such an environment that he doesn't come to me anxious and nervous. He just comes to me one day and says, Dad, you know what? I'm gay. Brilliant. Give me a hug, son. Look after yourself. That's... Oh, my goodness, she's a teacher. 08459 455 555. The reason we're talking about this is that there aren't enough people fostering and adopting kids. Well, the message is being reinforced this week with a national push to find prospective parents or carers who also happen to be gay, lesbian, bisexual or transgender. Sean Calvert is from Milton Keynes. Good morning, Sean. Oh, Sean, where are you? Sean? We've lost Sean. We'll get Sean back. Basically, they're encouraging. There is a campaign to encourage more people of different sexual orientations to adopt and foster children. Morning, Sean. Sean? We've lost Sean again. We'll get Sean back. Hang on a second. Shall I read some texts? She's a teacher. Wowzers. Fader one. Morning, Sean.
Morning, sorry about that.
Where on earth have you been, Sean, for goodness sakes?
Oh, well, I think it was a time warp bringing me back from 1962. I think that was the issue there.
I feel embarrassed bringing you on after that call.
I don't. Actually, when you listen to a lot of the people that sound on the surface sort of homophobic, I think at the heart of all those people, well, for the majority of people that called in, was the welfare of the children.
Yeah.
But I've been a dad for 5 years now to two amazing kids, Christopher and Elizabeth, who are listening downstairs, and honestly, they couldn't be happier. And
Sean,
we couldn't be happier as parents.
Sean, so I've got to clarify. You're a gay man in a relationship with another man.
Absolutely, 18 years so far. Yeah.
How old are your kids?
Elizabeth is 6 and Chris is 4.
Okay. Some of the accusations that have been brought up this morning is your children are going to turn gay because of your lifestyle.
Well, I've no idea. I have no idea what my children are going to be when they grow up. But as you quite rightly pointed out, I, as a gay man, a proud gay man, was raised by two amazing heterosexual people. I don't hold that against them. With my mum and dad.
Good for you.
I'm afraid I did see them kiss. I've seen them love each other, and you know what? It didn't do me any harm, and I'm a fully functioning gay man. So,
why did you want to adopt, and how difficult was it?
Why we wanted to adopt? Well, we got to 2006. We'd been together for 10 years, and we had our civil partnership. And in the same year, the law changed, which meant that your sexual orientation was no longer a barrier to adoption. So we knew we could offer a loving home to children, and there are lots of children out there waiting for their forever families. So we went down the process. We approached Bucks County Council. It took a couple of years, like it did for everybody back then. Yep. It wasn't difficult at all. The council, if anything, were quite... They were over-helpful in some ways. You know, I think we were about the third gay couple to go through the process, and they did a lot of almost overcompensation during the preparation groups where they'd say a mum and a dad, or two dads, could do this. And, you know, there's lots of things like that. People have been 100% supportive of us. And again, I think something that comes through a lot from the people that you've spoken to this morning and earlier on when you were doing the interviews in the street was that people who know gay people with children are 100% supportive because they see that we're just like any other family. You know, this morning we're getting ready for the school run, we're making sure homework's done, making sure that school uniforms and PE kits are ready. There's nothing different about us, and we're also not growing up in a gay bubble either. This weekend, me and my dad took my son to his first football match down at the MK Dons.
Fantastic!
Had a brilliant time.
Have the kids noticed that their parents do not fit the? I'm going to use the normal word because it's easier. They do not fit the norm of parents, whatever that means these days.
Well, to be honest with you, that's something which is true for every adopted child and every child that's in foster care. We're very open with the children about their life story, how they came to us and why they came to us and why they're not with their birth parents. We have a fantastic thing from that the council provided us with, which is called their life story book, which is everything that happened to them, photos, pictures of them with their birth parents, up to the point that they came to us, and then we fill in the rest of the story. So they understand that we didn't give birth to them. They understand that they've grown up in a loving home, and that's all that matters, you know, and it really is.
Sean, I can't disagree with you, and I'm surprised that so many people are. I've got to cut it short, Sean, because we spent so much time with Priscilla, but I really appreciate your time and your story. Go and get those kids ready for school and give them lots of love. Sean Calvert, he's a gay man in a relationship with another man, shock, horror, 18 years, oh my goodness, OMG, and they've adopted 2 kids. And he sounds like he's doing a cracking job. Now we've got a name. Now we've heard a voice. Now we've heard a personal story. How can you be against Sean and his partner adopting kids? He sounds like a thoroughly decent bloke. Where's the problem? This is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Lots to talk about this morning. Some stuff we haven't given much attention to, so we'll redress the balance. That's the phrase. Yes, that'll do. Barnfield is back in hot water. There's a recruitment drive for gay mums and dads to adopt. Well, is it okay for gays to be parents? I can't believe I'm asking that question, but it turns out I have to. And if you were expecting Sir Peter Burkitt to be joining me now, he ain't. Facebook.com/BBC 3CR. Send me a text, 81333. Start your text 3CR. Give me a call, 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
I feel poor Jean has got lost in all of this. We spoke to Jean earlier on. We were talking about drivers and the age where you might need to reapply for your licence could go up from 70 to 80. What was Jean's problem again, Catherine?
Jean said her neighbour was 94 and still driving. He hasn't got any family. In her words, he is doddery and can't see very well, and the thought of him behind the wheel puts the fear of God up her.
And we were kind of asking, what should Jean do, really? Let's read some of these comments on Facebook, because I feel we've ignored Jean's predicament ever so slightly. Michael, Buster says shop him. Nick says, I bet he's a right pain in the backside for other drivers. Tara says, if he had an accident and seriously hurt or killed someone or himself, she would feel awful. She needs to stop him somehow. But how? How do you stop someone, an independent gentleman of whatever age, saying you can't drive?
Hide his keys.
It's not actually particularly...
It's actually the right idea, isn't it?
For you, yeah. I mean, yeah, okay. We'll buy that. Michael says, Ian, I had concerns about a neighbour of my mother who mentioned this to another neighbour who knew the chap better. She said she was also concerned. She approached the chap with the financial cost of owning and running a car and only using it once a week. So the chap sold the car because he could see she was making a sensible argument. Liz says, Jean sounds like a lovely, caring lady. I can understand how she must feel, but I think this man needs to be stopped, because if he was to injure or kill anyone, he would feel absolutely awful, I'm sure. And there's a few more other comments we might get to a little bit later on. We're talking about, gay adoption. And I thought we were going to actually progress this argument forward and take as read that it was okay for gay men and lesbian women to adopt children. I kind of was assuming that was going to be our starting point. Turns out it isn't. We have to go a level lower than that. So we're asking, is it okay for gays and lesbians to adopt? And surprisingly, lots of you saying, actually, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. We had a teacher who teaches children saying that it wasn't okay and that being gay is wrong. Well, this is Justin speaking to somebody out in the street earlier on.
I don't like it. I don't like lesbian. I don't like it. To me, it's like introducing something. Whatever the way the mother... the behavior of the mother, the child will be the same. So that means they are helping them to be increased, to be like a homosexual, and then it will bring so many diseases as well, as AIDS and everything. And then they just spread it to the neutral people as well.
They spread it to the neutral people. Warren's in Milton Keynes. Morning, Warren.
Morning, Ian.
What would you like to say, boss?
I can't believe that you found so many people that are so against the gay adoption. It's remarkable. It's almost as though Justin's doing you a disservice and is handing out £10 notes for people to say this stuff.
And I just have to say that since Justin got his knuckles rapped for doing that in the past, we have cracked down on that practice. I know, and I'm really disappointed that a teacher phoned up who is responsible for children, and she is of the belief that being gay is wrong. So it's not even the adoption thing; it's the whole gay thing is wrong in her book.
And that is such a shame. I can't help but feel sorry for her. It's such a great shame. Maybe she is of that last generation, but the gentleman that you spoke to at 7:45, I can't believe that his argument, he just wasn't willing to listen to you.
That was Steve. Steve's called in a couple of times, and listening is one of the skills he needs to work on, definitely. Warren, I've got to cut it short because we've got a really busy show, but thank you so much for calling in. I'll make sure you get more time next time. That's a promise. MPs will today call for a parliamentary debate into the Barnfield Federation after two government departments published highly critical reports aimed at the Bedfordshire schools chain. Unless there is significant improvement at the Federation, the government will not hesitate to take further action. Well, I should now be turning round to face Sir Peter Burkitt, the former Director-General of the Federation. He was due to appear on the show now, but Paul Scoynes, he pulled out at 4:30 this morning, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He said with regret that he had realised that he'd signed agreements when he left Barnfield last summer, which he said had many legal covenants and restrictions to them. He needed to check those legal covenants and restrictions with his legal team, and as a result, he's going to postpone it, he says.
Disappointing he remembered that at 4:30 in the morning, and also disappointing because there were lots of things that were specific about him in these reports, weren't there?
There were absolutely. There was stuff in there about the pay that he'd received when he left the Federation. He resigned, so effectively wasn't entitled to anything sort of other than holiday owed to him. He had an agreement in his contract as well, which showed that he was entitled to, I think he could carry 5 days over a year. He said that in the previous report it was said that he hadn't taken a holiday in 4 years. So he, my reckoning, that's 20 days he should have been owed, and that should have been it. But he indeed got 2 payoffs, a car, additional holiday pay on top of that, which he said he didn't ask for, but he did get. And indeed in that he said that it was the business of the board, and therefore he wouldn't be able to comment on this. He has sent us through a statement really saying that, outlining some of the areas that we would want to ask him questions about. A lot of it, he says, is ultimately the responsibility of the board. He says that he welcomes the report and hopes that Barnfield can now move on and continue to provide, quote, great opportunities for the students of Luton. That's the report from. I mean, we also asked to talk to Barnfield. They said that they're not talking at the moment. They're saying that they're tackling the issue raised in the report and ensuring that it's a strong organisation going forward. We asked to speak to the government, and the government said that they weren't talking either, and sent us a statement. Yeah, so we've had a lot of
some good news. We asked to speak to Gavin Shuker, Labour MP for Luton South, and he said yes. Good morning, Gavin.
Good morning. I'm always around for you.
I know. It's great. You've come on. Very disappointing that both the Department for Education and the Department for Business have said they don't want to talk about this. How serious do you think the government is taking this?
Well, I hope they're taking it extremely seriously. I mean, one of the reasons why today we will apply for a cross-party debate on the situation at Barnfield is because we need to put this stuff into the public arena, and we need to hold the government to account for the actions that they've already taken. Now, they'll have an opportunity to respond. One of the good things about Parliament, of course, is they can't just pull out at 4:30 in the morning. Actually, you have to come and you have to answer questions if you're the government. And obviously there are broader questions to be asked of Sir Pete Burkett and otherwise, and I hope this will help move things along.
Do you think this brings the policy about academies and the like into question?
I think it raises really serious questions about accountability in particular. So what you've got is, under this current system, a large number of free schools, academies and chains, where the accountability is meant to be at a local level amongst the trustees, the board or the governors. And then there's responsibility and accountability at the centre with Michael Gove, but very little in between. And my concern, I suppose, about the reports into Barnfield is that they show that lack of a middle tier meant that if it weren't for whistleblowers coming forward, getting heard by DfE, then none of this would have come to light. Now, that's a really shocking realisation, and it points to a systemic problem, which is why it's important that we discuss it in Parliament.
Barnfield, despite saying in September that they would come back on the show after, or representatives from Barnfield after the reports came out, have refused to speak to us this morning. Have you spoken to anybody from there?
Not directly on the current management team, but we've had kind of discussions through back channels, which I know sounds kind of odd to put it in those terms. Now, in fairness to Barnfield, I think they are, under their new management and leadership there, committed to sorting out the problems that exist. But I suppose the really simple point to make is, until we've established the truth of what's gone on, till we've established where the blame lies, it becomes very difficult to see a viable future for Barnfield into the future. Now, I totally believe there is a viable future for Barnfield, and I'll be entering into discussions with the government and otherwise over the coming weeks about what that future looks like. I think it would be good to do that from a place of really well-informed knowledge, which is why I think it's regrettable that they're not answering questions today.
Governors. Paul, you want to
well, I was just saying that the governors, Gavin, need to at least consider the breaking up of the academies. That's what the government have asked them to do.
Yeah, and of course they've only got a month to do this now. By the end of this month, they will have to put forward credible plans about a number of different models for the options of the future. Now, obviously, the NUT are calling for the academies to be returned back to local authority control. There's a divergence of views, I suspect, amongst those people currently running different elements of Barnfield about whether it should stay together or whether it should find its own separate paths. I'm reasonably agnostic on that, but what I want to hear is a credible plan from Barnfield about how they're going to make things right. They've got a very tight timescale to do that. I do hope that the full truth of what's gone on there will come out, because I think without it, parents, staff, and other people in the community will have little faith in Barnfield, and we don't want that. We want them to be a fantastic education provider, and I think without the truth coming out, it'll be hard for them to do that.
Gavin, thank you very much for joining us, and I appreciate you sitting in for Sir Peter Burkett, who didn't make it today, but we are hopeful, aren't we, that he might make it at some point, Paul?
Yeah, once he's had some advice, and you know... He's got sort of sound reasons, he says, for doing that, so we'll give him the benefit of the doubt in that one, I think.
Paul Scoins, thank you very much. Of course, thank you to Gavin Shuker, Labour MP for Luton South. Buckinghamshire film space movie Gravity has won 7 awards at the Oscars. Jonathan, they must be over the moon.
Yeah, I like what you did there. Very clever.
Do you like that?
Yes.
It's Kelly and I wrote that. It's good, isn't it? Good joke. Weather, yeah.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yes, here we go. Wow. He he's doing this. I can't do that. How do you swing your arm all the way around like that from the elbow joint?
Really?
No.
Look at this. Look. See, look.
You're like a little mauve windmill.
Yes, I can do both of them together, but it gives me a neck ache for the whole day.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
No.
Can I just have to say, we've had some worried texts. This week promoting gays and lesbians adopting children. They're not making it compulsory. I know there are some gay people that have been in touch with the show. They're very concerned. They're not making it compulsory. You don't have to take a child home, okay? So don't panic. They're just encouraging it. That's all. That's all that's happening. You're talking about this morning, aren't you?
Yes, from 9 on this morning's Big Phone-In, I'm asking, do you have any problem with gay couples raising children? Adoption campaigners are encouraging more gay and lesbian people to become foster and adoptive parents. New research shows that 1 in 3 gay people think their sexuality will mean they can't adopt children, and 1 in 4 so they've been told by other people they shouldn't become parents, often by their own family members. Well, from 9 this morning, I want your views on this morning's Big Phone-In. Do you have any problem with gay couples raising children? I've been quite astonished listening to some of your callers this morning, Ian. Quite astonished.
I'll read you a text in a second as well that will astonish you. I've just seen
Really?
it on my screen. Shall I read it now?
Go on.
I've got 4 texts in front of me.
Go on.
3 of them are pro-gay. Then there's one from Pat, and I'll read the others in a bit. But Pat says, Ian, like the governments who protect gays, you just will not listen to normal views. It's abnormal if you're gay. Fact. You lost the argument. That's from Pat.
Well, I mean, there are more heterosexual people than gay people.
Statistically, it is normal to be heterosexual. Of course, it's statistically. But it doesn't mean that it's abnormal or wrong to be gay. There's just more, you get gay animals. So it's not a case of they've been brought up on gay media that's turned them gay. Because I'm sure that, the gay sheep aren't watching storylines in EastEnders or anything. Oh, I'm getting angry.
I can see this.
Yeah, I am. It just is. I really thought we would. The conversation about this would be a celebration. I didn't think I'd have to ask the question: is it okay for gays to adopt kids? I thought we were kind of, a few steps up the ladder, a few rungs up the ladder.
Oh gosh, no!
I'm so naive.
Don't be silly.
So naive.
Mind you, years ago I was doing a phone-in on homosexuality, and I was like you. I was at that kind of stage where I just was feeling a bit depressed with it all and thinking, oh God, what's happening in this world? And then this bloke phoned up. He was lovely. I'll never forget it. It was one of my favourite callers ever. He was a big gruff bloke, certainly like that, butch. And he phoned up and I thought, oh God, here we go, here's another one. He's going to come on and say, it's disgusting being gay. I thought that's what he was going to say. He didn't. He said, I'm a mechanic and I love gays. Oh, they keep their cars beautiful.
Good for him.
Oh dear. Anyway, from 9 this morning, do you have any problem with gay couples raising children? Yes or no? Your views from 9.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Let me read a couple more of these texts to redress the balance. Lucy in Bedford just got to work, so can't call in. I'm disappointed in the bigoted views that have recently been aired. As long as a child is loved and cared for, then it's all that matters, regardless of whether they have a single parent, heterosexual parents, or homosexual parents. Tony and Luton, sorry, I've got a little bit of coffee and digestion, so this might be a little bit windy pops in the next few minutes. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Steve is an idiot. Steve was a caller at about 7:40. That's my opinion. Gay is normal. Gay people have heterosexual parents. The parents do not make a child gay. A homeless child can count themselves lucky not to have Steve and Joyce as parents. What would either one of those people do if one of their kids were to become gay? Disown them? Would it be their fault they were gay? Careless bigots. Tony and Luton. And Leslie says, doesn't Joyce see that it's her kind of attitude that gives bullies carte blanche to attack gay people? And Pat's text one more time. Ian, like the governments who protect gays, you just will not listen to normal views. It's abnormal if you're gay. Fact. You lost the argument. Yvonne's in Hearts. Morning, Yvonne.
Good morning.
What would you like to say, Yvonne?
I would like to say that I agree with Steve and the lady before him and Priscilla. I do not agree with gays and lesbians at all, especially adopting children. There was a person who came into my family because they had a relationship with someone in my family. She was actually gay, and then she went off with the baby with her gay lesbian partner, and they brought the baby up, and the baby is related to me in a way.
Yeah.
She's now 19, and when she was 11, she turned gay. So I really am against it, because if a man and a woman are sitting there kissing and cuddling, the child is going to do the same. I do agree with the lady before Steve, and
it was Joyce.
Priscilla.
Joyce was before Steve.
Joyce?
Yeah, Joyce. Was, yeah.
Yeah, I do believe. I really do agree.
But where do gay kids come from then? Kids that grow up to gay adults. Where do they come from?
Right. Well, what had happened with this woman? Yeah. I can't say her name. I knew her when she was a baby.
Right.
And her cousin, who was 14, when she was 2, he raped her.
Okay, right. Well, that's Yvonne, and that
turned her against men.
Well, okay, that's an horrific example. But you're not saying that all gay men and women were raped as children.
No, okay. I'm not.
So where does your average gay man or woman come from? Because their parents are probably heterosexual. So where have they got it from? Do you think?
Well, years ago it was rarely heard of
because it was illegal.
Probably, because it was illegal.
It was illegal, and there was a lot of prejudice and violence against homosexuals.
Yeah, but
that's
there weren't as many as there are today.
No, statistically there were a similar percent. It's always a similar percentage of the population is gay. It's just because of the bigotry and the violence and the aggression. It was quite common in the 70s to go queer bashing, and what that was groups of gangs would go out and find a gay person and beat them up. So you can understand why they want to keep it, on the lowdown.
I think now it's just become a phase that people are going through. Oh, let's be lesbians, let's be gays. I think now, because there are so many now that were never heard of years ago,
where do the gay? So what makes someone gay? If you're saying it could be their parents, if a baby is brought up by 2 gay men, that baby will turn gay. Then
I really do believe so.
Okay, but then where do other gay people come from? They can't all be going through a phase. They can't all have been sexually abused as children. So if they've got heterosexual parents, why are they turning gay, Yvonne?
To tell you the truth, I don't know. As I said, it's over the last couple of years, there's been more gays than lesbians been known about than what there was before.
And isn't that wonderful that people?
No, it isn't. It's a bad thing.
That people.
God, No. God made Adam and Eve.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say
Adam and Steve.
Don't say it. You said it.
Okay, bye. See?
She said it. I really thought. Can I press a button for a second?
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Well, I tell you what, guys, it's a big gay podcast this week. It really is a big gay podcast. She said it. I really thought that I'd educated you, dear listener, to be better than that. God made Adam and Eve. He didn't make Adam and Steve. Well, he did. He made Steve. God made Adam. He made Eve. He made Steve. He made all of them. And listen, if you're going to have the conversation, there's so much more we could have explored with Yvonne. If you're going to have the conversation, this is the second person this morning who's done the get out of jail free card of, all right, then bye, put the phone down. Don't do that. That weakens your argument. See it through to its conclusion. Trucker Chris. Morning, Trucker Chris.
Good morning, boss and Lady Catherine. How are you?
Don't encourage her, for goodness sakes.
No, you leave my Lady Catherine alone.
I wish she'd leave me alone, Chris.
Yeah.
She keeps sending me mucky texts and snaps over the weekend.
Yeah.
I'm sick of it.
Good luck to her. She's a lovely lass.
Go on, Chris, what you got for me?
Well, listening to this conversation, I can't believe there's so much bigotry in this world. And this for that last lady, that guy rattling on about God, if she likes to read the Bible, it said God made man in his own image. Now that covers everybody, whether it's lesbians, gays, straight people, whatever. Now, I haven't got a problem with gays adopting. I mean, I know me and my wife got invited to a party and there was various gays and lesbians and homosexuals. And you know something? They're the most caring, devoted, rational people going. Now, if there was more people like them in this world, we wouldn't have half the problems we got. And as for them adopting children, I think it is one of the best ideas going, because there's no way that they're going to let them kids that they adopt become gay or lesbian. You know, that's going to be their own choice when they get older. Now, if people like to look at the medical makeup of people, everybody has got gay or homosexual tendencies in them. It's built into the chromosomes. It just depends which way your body develops, which way you want to go. But there are a lot of people in this world that say, "Oh, gays this, no lesbians that." But
we spoke to Chris.
Just frightened of their own being, basically.
We spoke to Yvonne, who says that a lot of this gay stuff, it's just a phase, it's a fad, it's fashionable. I don't know about you, Chris. I couldn't have sex with a man just to be fashionable. I would struggle with that.
Well, yeah, that's you. That's up to you. Know, I mean,
yeah,
that's
but I couldn't do it.
Your own belief.
Exactly, because I'm straight.
That.
I'm straight. I couldn't go to bed with a man just because it's fashionable and it's a fad and it's a trendy thing to do. Which is the point that Yvonne was making, that we're all just people are doing it because it's trendy.
No, well, trendy, yeah, right, okay, that's another argument, isn't it? But what I'm saying is, everybody's got homosexual and lesbian tendencies in them from the birth, because when the cells split at birth, that depends which way you go, whether you're either male or female.
Yeah.
But it doesn't actually, for lesbians and that, it doesn't actually become apparent until they're older.
Chris, I'm going to leave it there because we're out of time, but thank you. I will put that point to some of the slightly angrier callers, that actually we're all a bit gay, we're all a bit lesbian. It's just in some people the urge is stronger. 08459 455 555. Is it okay for gays and lesbians to adopt kids?
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
I love it. I tell you what I love. You know that there's a councillor, where is he? Is it Houghton Regis, Alan Winter, who hates me. And he once called me a twit on Twitter, except it wasn't an I, dear listener, it was an A. He's a councillor and he thought it was appropriate to bandy that kind of abuse around. Anyway, he hates the show, cannot stop listening to the show. Must listen to show I do not like. It makes me angry and upset, but I must listen to it. There's a brilliant page on Facebook, the BBC 3CR Gripe page, right? And Alan Winter posts on there. Not sure why homosexual couples are being discussed today. Anybody? I'm no expert, but recall reading something about there being a problem with our water. And the story he's got is, male fish are being feminised by river pollution. Let's do that! It's the water's making fish go gay. Let's, Catherine...
How can you tell a male fish from a female fish anyway? Do they swim different?
Let's drop everything we've got for the last 30 minutes and let's do that story about the water.
No.
Thank you very much indeed. And Alan, thank you. Stop being a silly... Stop acting like a 15-year-old schoolgirl and throwing little tantrums and strops on the internet. Be a man and call up.
On behalf of 15-year-old schoolgirls, I must object.
OK, thank you very much indeed. Call up, for goodness sakes. 08459 455 555. Alan, you'll be welcome with open arms. Ah, dear. Right, driving. Pensioners should be allowed to continue driving until they're 80 before having to renew their licences. That's according to a review by transport officials. They are urging ministers to relax the current mandatory renewal age of 70 because the DVLA are too busy. Well, Justin's been out this morning talking to people about this. Justin, morning.
Morning, boss.
We've kind of got a little bit... So we went down a gay side road this morning and got a little bit distracted on this. We've had lots of people, lots of older people saying they're great drivers. We also had an incredible call from Jean at about 10 to 7 this morning, who's got a next-door neighbour. He's 94.
Yep.
And his eyesight is terrible and he gets very confused, and she was worried about what he should do.
Yeah, it's
it is a tough one. Lots of feedback about that on Facebook, and I'll try and squeeze in some of those comments before the end of the show. What have you been asking people this morning about this, Just?
Well, earlier I spoke to professional drivers who said to me at 70, quite simply, you shouldn't be on the road.
Yeah.
Somebody else said to me that this paperwork every 3 years, it should be made so hard for them that it's almost impossible to carry on driving. So what I've done in the last hour or so, Ian, I've been talking to drivers over the age of 70 to get their views on this. Some interesting stuff coming up here. Here's what people had to say. Well, Shirley, you're 80 years old. I've heard from professional drivers, also Ian back in the studio, who says that once you hit 70, you shouldn't be on the roads. What's your thoughts on that?
It's a load of twaddle. I've got every right to be on the road, as long as I'm fit and healthy.
So what's the situation now? What happens every 3 years?
You have to fill in forms about your health, and you have to prove that you've got your eyesight, and they haven't refused me yet a while, and that's every 3 years I have to do that.
When you're filling out paperwork, do you think you should be having a retest, a proper retest?
Why? I happen to know that I've got indicators on my car. If I want to turn a corner, I indicate. These fools that have got cars today, especially the youngsters, don't know the workings of the car. They don't signal. You know, I try to drive by the rules and abide by the highway code. I learnt to drive when you did hand signals.
And just lastly, I'm going to put this point to you in the nicest possible way. We heard from somebody earlier on who said that she has a neighbour. Now, their neighbour's 94.
I heard that.
Yeah, you heard that call. So she was saying that her neighbour still drives, and he thinks that he's perfectly fit to be on the roads, but everyone knows that he's not. Are you a bit deluded when it comes to your capabilities of driving a vehicle at the age of 80?
No, I'll be perfectly honest. I passed my test when I was 31 years old. And in all that time, I have had one accident. One in all those years. And that was some young kid pulled out on me. He got banned from driving. I was innocent in that. I was a victim in that accident. That's the only one I've had in nearly 50 years of driving.
Madam, you're 77 years old. Ian and other people saying this morning, once you hit 70, you shouldn't be on the roads. Is that vastly unfair, do you think?
I think it is, because it depends how you are in health. A lot of people are a lot older in age than others and have health problems. But if you're fit and like me, touch wood at the moment, I don't see why not.
I mean, have you thought about giving up driving at any time soon?
No, definitely not. Once I'm ill or anything happens, then yes, I would. But
and other people, when they get in your car, do they say to you, maybe you should think about giving this up?
No. Even my husband tells me I'm a good driver. That says something, doesn't it?
Yeah, how old is he, though? And we are not the best judges of when our eyesight is going or when our reflexes go.
I mean, these people are saying to me, I will know when that day comes when I'm not fit to be on the road. But I do think, a lot of people this morning talking about this so-called retest at the age of 70. It's not a retest whatsoever. It's simply filling out paperwork. Maybe it's about time as a nation, if we want to become safer on the roads, that everyone, not just people over the age of 70, everyone is retested, let's say, every 5 to 10 years.
Are you sure you want to introduce that, Justin?
Yes, absolutely.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Because you'd be out of a job, mate.
Why?
Because you can't drive.
I can drive. I'm a fantastic driver.
Are we going to make this an annual event where we go out with a driving instructor and we both do a little mini test and I whop your backside?
But what's more important, Ian? You talk about me, if I'm not safe to be on the roads, yes, I would lose my job, but that would make the roads a much safer place. If I didn't pass the test, it would be my own fault.
You've blown my mind with your own dealy logic, so I'm going to let you go, Justin.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Dearie me. Talking about gays adopting. I thought we'd have a different conversation to the one we're asking. Is it okay for gay people to adopt children? I kind of assumed that we'd start from a slightly more enlightened point of view, but we're not. We've had to go back a little bit. Some text. Jamie says, not sure I entirely agree with gays and lesbians to adopt, as it's not quite as nature intended, but loving parents are better than no parents. And that's got to be it, hasn't it? It's got to be it. Ian, that woman Priscilla, who was on, where was she? About just after 8 o'clock, I think. Or maybe just before. Anyway, that woman Priscilla surely cannot be a teacher. Shot with her attitude. Maybe she's blighted with a religious view, but she also struggled to communicate in understandable English. Wouldn't want my children at her school. What if one of my kids admitted to having gay feelings? Sack her now, Maff and Hanslow. If Steve is still listening, Steve was on at 7:40 and Steve will be still listening, can you ask him that if gay and lesbian adoption is wrong and that children should stay in care homes, would he ban gay and lesbian people from working in care homes as well? Phil. And Evan Luton says, simple answer, stop IVF, and if a couple want children and can't for whatever reason, gay or straight, then they should adopt, give a child a loving home and save the NHS millions. Kevin's in Milton Keynes. Morning, Kevin.
Morning, Ian.
What do you reckon?
I reckon people need to grow up a little bit. How many times on the news do you hear about, a gay lesbian couple or a gay male couple? I'll aim at the gay male couple because that's what most people seem to associate gay people with. They seem to forget that lesbians exist sometimes. But how many times do you hear about, a young kid that's been abused or been neglected by a gay couple on the news? And, it's always, it's not normal, Adel and Steve, blah, blah, blah. It's not Mary and Alice either. And I think people have to realise that, homosexuality, it's not just gay, it's not just two men, it's two women as well. And I think people have the problem with the men.
What? Well, there is kind of that attitude. You talk to blokes about gay men quite often. Oh dear. Yeah. You mentioned some lesbians. Whoa.
And they're all up for it.
Whoa. Exactly. They don't mind watching it in a film, but they don't. But what do you think, though, Kev? Do you think that the gay couples, male or female, should be allowed to adopt?
I think they should be allowed to adopt, and I think that if more gay and lesbian couples adopt, it might at some point in the future. It won't be the near future because of the way the world is, but at some point in the near future, we might have a generation of kids that are saying, yeah, right, my dad and my dad, they might not be normal, but hey, I'm getting everything I can, And I think if we can wipe out this whole kind of homophobic, it's not normal kind of generation, I think we'll be onto a winner, but we can't, especially with the teacher woman that you had on earlier saying it's not right.
Kevin, thank you. I mean, hearing a teacher, I'm assuming she teaches in a school, a normal school, saying that it is wrong to be gay. She's a teacher. I hope she doesn't teach my kids. 2 texts. Phil, some of the callers against the existence of gays and lesbians sound scared. Can you ask the next one what they're afraid of? I've never called this show, but the narrow-minded, bigoted inability to conduct a reasoned argument I've heard has made me want to, but I have to take my daughter to school, as would any loving parent, be they gay or straight. Next text from Theo. Being gay is an affront to the Lord. They will be judged by their choice of deviancy. It should be illegal for them to adopt, as they are condemning the innocent children to a life of sin and allowing them to the temptations of Satan. I hope these children grow up and repent of their sins. Amen, Theo. I'm really hoping that Theo's text is a joke. I'm hoping I've been had and that's a joke, and I wouldn't mind if that were the case, because I hope these children grow up and repent of their sins. So it's now suddenly the sin is being put on the kids' shoulders.
Compassionate.
These Christians are so nice, aren't they? It's a minority, because most Christians are wonderful and brilliant, but people like that, Theo, you're doing your religion a real disservice. James is on the A421. Morning, James.
Morning, Ian.
James,
right,
I'm getting very depressed, James. What would you like to say?
Yeah, well, it's depressing when you hear such bigotry. First of all, can I just tell you there's been an accident on the A421 approaching Junction 13.
Oh, is it a bad one?
Well, it's just coming out of Milton Keynes, where it just goes into dual carriageway before the roundabout. 3 vehicles.
Thank you for that. Cheers.
There you go. I was just saying to your colleague a minute ago, I'm really disgusted that we're even having the conversation. People are either gay or straight. Sometimes they don't realise what they are until later in their life. But, it's no different to being black or having green eyes or ginger hair. And we wouldn't even be having the conversation if that was your question. Is it all right for black people to adopt kids? Well, of course it is. As long as...
Well, some people, James, will say you're born black, you choose to be gay. That was Priscilla's opinion. You choose to be gay, or you are corrupted into being gay.
Yeah, well, she's wrong. I'm gay myself, mate, and, I've never chosen to be attracted to a particular gender. That's just who I am. I've never been interested in females. I've never... had any urges like that. If it was a choice, surely I'd be able to choose to go and have a relationship or have intimate relations. I'm watching my language because of the time of day.
Yeah.
With someone of the opposite sex.
James, when you hear these, I'm sorry to cut you short, but we're kind of out of time a bit. But when you hear some of the views we've heard today, that what you do is wrong, you are abnormal, you are a sinner, you need to repent. When you hear that stuff, how does that make you feel?
Well, I think it's very hypocritical apart from anything, because I'm sure all these people that are quoting religion, have they never been shopping on a Sunday when they're meant to be resting? People trot out religion when they've got nothing else to say, to be honest. I'm sure there are lots of people that believe very deeply in their faith, and that's fine, but that's personal to them, and why should it ever impact on anybody else and other people's beliefs and just who people are?
James, I've got to end it there. Thank you very much indeed. 08459 455 555. The pendulum swings the other way. What do you reckon? For 15 minutes of the show, is it okay for gay people to adopt? I can't believe I'm actually asking that question, but that it turns out that's what we need to ask before we can get any further in the conversation. Let me read one comment on the Facebook page. Darren says, I think the adopted children will be safer with a gay couple than being homed with some of the religious nutters who've called in. I've got nothing against religion. I've kind of flirted with it a bit myself. But those... I had a terrible row over the weekend with some creationists. Yeah, people who think the world is only 6,000 years old. Oh, my God. And I realised who I was arguing with, and I just pulled out. Anyway... 08459 455 555. Last 10 minutes of the show. We've got two lines free. Now is an excellent time to call up. The pendulum has seemed to have swung the other way, which is rather an appropriate choice of phrase. We started off talking about gays adopting, and we had lots of people who were, well, they weren't just against gay people adopting, they were against gay people in general. It's not normal. It's an abomination. It's sin. These people are wrong. They will turn people gay. Have a listen to this. Justin Dealey went out and spoke to people about gay adoption. This was the view of one woman that he spoke to.
I don't like it. I don't like lesbian. I don't like it. To me, it's like introducing something. Whatever the way the mother... the behavior of the mother, the child will be the same. So that means they are helping them to be increased, to be like a homosexual, and then it will bring so many diseases as well, as the AIDS and everything. And then they just spread it to the neutral people as well.
They just spread AIDS to the neutral people as well. Now, that's quite an extreme view. Turns out it's not that extreme, actually. We've had a few people calling in kind of supporting that kind of thing. If you agree with that, if you think it is wrong for gay people to adopt, men or women, but also it's wrong to be gay, give us a call. What I don't understand, okay, when you talk about gays, forget the adoption thing for a second. When you talk about men being gay and women being gay, people get really, really angry about it. Stephen, who we spoke to at 7:40 this morning, was really, really angry about it. Angry that gay people exist because they are not normal. Why? I mean, if you don't like it, you don't like it. You don't have to watch. Why would you be angry about it? There are some sexual practices I don't particularly like. I don't get angry about it. So it doesn't upset me. If other people want to go and do those things, fine. It doesn't upset me. Don't get angry about it. 08459 455 555 is the phone number. If you are anti-gay, if you think being gay is wrong, can you give me a call and try and explain it to me? Because I'm really struggling to understand what's wrong with two people of whatever gender loving each other. Well, I don't understand how anyone could have a problem with that. If you could explain it to me, 08459 455 555. Lynn's in Hemel. Morning, Lynn.
Good morning, Ian.
What have you made of the show this morning?
Good Lord.
Yes. Yeah.
I nearly had very high blood pressure earlier. I wanted to say I'm so pleased that Sean phoned in. What an absolutely charming man.
Sean was the dad. He's been with his gay partner for 18 years. They have adopted two little kiddies, and it sounds like he's doing a cracking job.
He sounded so lovely and so proud of those children.
Yep.
But I'm really glad he called in to negate some of the awful things that people have been saying. I was so shocked. You know, I'm 59, I don't shock that easily. But the actual hatred towards people who've got a different lifestyle just astounds me. Why shouldn't I'm really hugely pleased that there's this initiative now to encourage more gay people to adopt, because I think there has been a perception they wouldn't be allowed to. So I'm really glad about the initiative, and just hope that it gives more little kiddies a loving home to go to.
That's what it's about. It's about kids getting going somewhere where they're loved and protected and warm and they can call home. That's what it's about.
Of course it is, and I don't understand why these people can't see that.
Lynn, thank you very much indeed. John's texted in. John's text from Bletchley has got me angry. Try and stay calm, Ian. I think, as a responsible broadcaster, you should not show your bias when listening to listeners' views, and certainly should not ridicule points of view you don't personally agree with, says John in Bletchley. Sorry, John, but if people are being bigoted, if people are being narrow-minded, if people are they're being accusatory and saying things that aren't true, then I'll step in, I'm afraid. If people are being nasty because they are afraid of something, then I'm going to have to step in. I can't be unbiased when people are being homophobic. Can't do that, I'm afraid. And I'm not ridiculing points of view I don't agree with. I'm ridiculing points of view that are not true. I'm ridiculing people who cannot take the argument any further. I'm ridiculing people who say God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Because as terms of an argument about gays, you can't get worse than that. Richard's in Bedford. Morning, Richard.
Good morning to you.
What would you like to say, boss?
I'd like to take it back to its lowest common denominator, if I may, because we're going off at all sorts of tangents, and it's the need for a child to have loving parents, and those parents to be able to offer different views to the child, the male perspective, the female perspective. And the real danger we've got, and I saw it from my previous job working in central London, there are whole communities with no father figure, and they will never ever have one, because they have a mother, they don't know who their father is, they go to school where they are taught predominantly by women. Consequently, they look for a father figure, and they end up joining a gang because they have no father figure, and they end up dead on our streets because they're gang members.
Right, listen, in the ideal situation, I would think, mums and dads. But as you've just said, that doesn't happen. So, to bring it back onto topic slightly, Richard, gay parents adopting, that's not a bad thing, is it?
Well, I have a daughter who's gay, okay? I would like to think that if she does have children sometime in the future, that child is able to see the male perspective on life and the female perspective on life, to give them a balance rather than just the female perspective.
So would you be upset if your gay daughter married another woman and they adopted a child?
No, I don't think I would.
Okay, Richard, thank you very much indeed. Of course, kids need the perspective of women and men, and hopefully these gay couples they'll have gay men will have female friends and vice versa. They're not going to be. If you're brought up by two dads, you're not going to be excluded from women. 08459 455 555. Probably too late to get on my show, but I know Jonathan is continuing this discussion. So if you call in now, if you don't make it on here, you'll definitely make it onto JVS. Rebecca's in Luton. Morning, Rebecca.
Good morning.
Well, we've only got a minute, so I'm going to do a little bit of shorthand. I believe that you're gay and you've adopted children. Is that right?
I haven't actually adopted children. I've actually had two biological children myself, and
okay.
I'm actually living in a gay relationship with my partner and my two children, and they could not be any happier. They have a loving, supporting family. They support both myself and my partner equally. They have their dad's influence also, and I think they actually have the best of both worlds. They see their dad happy and me happy, and they're very happy children.
How old are the kids, Rebecca?
My children are 8 and 6.
Okay, and do they question the fact that when they come home they've got two mums? Does it strike them odd? Do they get bullied at school because of it? That was one of the accusations that was raised earlier.
No, they haven't. And I think I've been in this relationship since the past 3 years now. And I think because they've actually just grown up, it's normal to them. People are saying it's not normal for gay couples to have children. It's actually normal for my children because they've grown up and they see myself with a woman and they're very happy. They see us very happy together. There's no arguments in the house, nothing like that. But they also see their dad with his partner, who's a female, and they see a healthy relationship there. And no, they don't ever question anything. And if ever they do have any kind of question whatsoever, then I will answer it as and when they are capable to get the answers from me, when they understand. I'm not going to bombard them with information now. If they ask me a question, I will answer it.
You're not going to brainwash them. You're not going to brainwash them, Rebecca, to become gay themselves, then?
Of course not. And if I'm completely honest, I think it would be much easier for them if they weren't gay, because it's actually very hard. Obviously, listeners this morning, people like that are still around, and it's actually very hard to be gay in this society. So, from a parent, I would prefer it for them if they were actually straight, because it's hard to be gay. But if they were gay, I would support them 100%.
Rebecca, we've got to end it there because we're out of time. But what a thoroughly decent call to end the show on. Thank you very much for that. Well, that was a feistier Monday morning than I was expecting. Thank you for nearly all of your calls. I'm back tomorrow at 6. JVS is up next, carrying on this conversation. Till tomorrow from me, ta-ta.
Local and vocal across Beds, Herts and Bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Iain.